Hey everyone, welcome back to BRAP. It is Friday, January the 23rd, and I don't know about you all, but I'm getting ready for a big snowstorm or winter storm. It's like covering, I don't know, like pretty much everything north of Florida from Texas up. Yeah, it's a pretty big storm, and so I'm getting ready for that. It's going to hit this weekend. I think they're calling for like 14 inches of snow where I live, and on top of that, sleet, which is always fun when you get sleet and freezing rain mixed in. Yeah, not fun. But anyhow, great to be back live. And do me a favor, I'm going to drop a link here in the live chat. Share this link with, just feel free to retweet it or share it in your favorite social media platform. Let everyone know we're live. And actually, I need to do the same too. I need to let everyone know that we're live as well. Let's see here. Let me just tweet this out real quick. All right, sorry about that. Yeah. So I do want to welcome returning guests. It's been a long time. Are you podcasting from Greenland? No, I'm not. I'm not. You know, I don't even get me started. It is so ridiculous. AC Gaming says, "What up? Ready for the snow of the DMV?" Yeah, 16 inches where you live. Okay, they're calling for 14. I'm also. I see. I'm also in the DMV. They're calling for like, I don't know, like 10 to 14 where I'm at. I'm north of DC. So yeah, it's I got my I actually got to go out tomorrow morning and fill up my gas tank so that I have enough gas for my snowblower. I need to actually go out and tomorrow and start my snowblower because I haven't started it in a year. It's been a year since the last significant snowfall that we had where I used my snowblower. So anyhow, hopefully it works. Knocking on wood. But I do have a returning guest. We haven't had him on some time. I want to welcome back Ramon Terrell. Ramon, welcome back to BRAP, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. You guys, it's tripping me out because all of you have weather that is far, far colder than what I have up here in Vancouver, Canada. Like we haven't had a flake of snow. We've had some frost. Well, I take that back. There's some areas around where I live that have gotten light snow, but we haven't gotten anywhere near the kind of snow that you guys get. And the West Coast is more temperate. Well, I'll take that back. Vancouver is more temperate than the rest of the country. But even for Vancouver, we've had very, very, very little snow. So I'm curious if the next few months will catch up. But yeah, like it was actually a little bit warmer today. It was like what, like I think 8 or 9 Celsius, and that's usually beginning of spring.
Oh wow, really? Okay, so what do you guys typically get like in a winter snow, like with snowfall?
Well, in the heart of winter, we typically will get around. We get down for maybe like a week or two. We'll get down to like maybe like -5 to -8 Celsius.
Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
like in
cold.
the teens to 20s, but
Yeah.
it typically doesn't last longer than a few weeks to a month. But our typical average cold weather up here is 0 Celsius to about like -2, and then well, I take
So
that
about
back.
freezing. Yeah,
Negative
30.
two to about +4 or 5 on average for
Okay.
our winters.
Gotcha. Okay. That's kind of similar, I think, to some of the weather we encounter here where I
Yeah, the
live
rest of the
outside
country
Washington,
laughs
D.C.
at us.
Yeah.
The rest of the
Yeah.
country laughs at our weather.
I mean, you're 46 degrees, 45, 46 degrees Fahrenheit right now. That's actually
Yeah,
warmer than where I'm at. It's supposed to be a
yeah.
high of 15 degrees here,
Jesus.
15 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, as a high. As a high. It's supposed to,
Oh
it
my
was
god.
45. No, it was 42 today. No, 40 degrees today Fahrenheit, and it's going to drop to 8 degrees Fahrenheit tonight. So we're going to have a 32 degree drop in temperature. It's insane.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
Yeah. So anyhow, but welcome back, Ramon. And Ramon, for those who
Thank
don't
you.
remember, give us a little bit about your background because you're not only a gamer, but you actually have some screen time.
Oh, yeah. I also work in film, so the bulk of my resume is Hallmark. So if you watch Hallmark, 9 times out of 10, you've seen me at some point. A few other things like geez, I can't even remember anymore. Um, Episode of Arrow, but very brief because it was the first credit I ever earned. Now take that back. It was the second credit I ever earned. My first credit was an episode of Supernatural. I had a couple of scenes in that. And yes, just some stuff here and there. iZombie, first season of Mighty Ducks, things like that. So it's been pretty cool. COVID slowed everything down for a lot of us, but I still here and there get some work.
Yeah, you've also written some books too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, primarily my genre is primarily fantasy, but I also have fantasy humor as well. So um, I would never consider myself as brilliant as Terry Pratchett, but I've had my fairies fantasy humored books. They say kind of it has a Pratchett esque flair to it. So I'll say that other people have said that. I will never say that. um, but yeah, I've got a got a handful of fantasy books. Got some endorsements from Brandon Sanderson, Robin Hobb, if you've ever heard of them. So I like to think I have some pretty good work out there, and yeah, but I'm finishing up on one now. It's I would call it the kind of like the action popcorn flick style fantasy. Like think fast paced, lots of action, still like character development and things like that. But it's some pretty action heavy stuff. So that's one of my more lighter series. My heavier stuff typically runs longer and takes longer to finish. So I'm hoping to have that out by summer and then get back to my bigger stuff.
Gotcha. Well, again, I just want to say welcome back to the show. It's great having you back on. It's been a long time. Here down there says those are some big endorsements. The other thing I want to ask you too, Ramon, is you used to primarily game on gaming consoles, and
Yeah.
you made the switch over to PC, which for those who don't know, on this show I've said is PC is the definitive gaming platform and the definitive Xbox experience. So, what have you been playing on your PC recently?
Everything that is not a PlayStation or Switch 2 exclusive. So basically right now currently I'm playing Eternal Strands and bouncing back and forth between that and WRC7. Logic got me hooked on rally sims. So but primarily Eternal Strands, and that has been an interesting experience because it starts off, the combat is, it lacks weight, and it's a little bit like the combat just doesn't hit hard. It lacks a weight to it. It's a double A game, so I mean you have to be forgiving with some things. But the more you play it, the better it gets. The way I've described it and the way I'm going to review it when I finish it, when I review it on Steam is, have you ever been having a meal and the meal is, it's good, but the aftertaste is great. You know what I mean? Kind of like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like you started, you're like, okay, this is good. It's nothing special, but it's good. But then like you find I find myself thinking about it, and then the more I play it, the better it gets, and then the combat improves, especially the magic system is really cool. Um there's this one ability, there's these two abilities. One, you can shoot ice, or you have like fire arrows, or you can manipulate fire as well. And then there's this ability that's like, it's the best way I can describe it is, it's like a gravity sphere. So if you can hit an enemy with a gravity sphere, anything close to it will be drawn into it and damage the enemy. But if you shoot a fire arrow into that gravity sphere, it sets them on fire as well. So they're taking damage from whatever is hitting them inside the gravity sphere, the fire, and then when the gravity sphere explodes, they get damage from that too. So it's like you can combine different things like that. So it's pretty cool. It has elements of Dragon's Dogma slash what do you call it? Shadow of the Colossus in that
Ooh,
large
Shadow of the
boss
Colossus.
enemies.
Oh man.
Yeah, so like
Did
boss
you ever
enemies,
play,
you
did
can
you ever play
climb
the
on them.
remake of Shadow of Colossus?
I did not play the remake. I know
Oh
they
goodness.
said you get the
Fantastic.
yeah. The problem I had was when I played the original.
Yeah.
After I killed my first boss, I felt like a sack of crap. And then after I've killed the second one, I was like, okay, I'm not particularly fond of being the villain in games, so I just put it down. It was a great game, but like I just felt progressively more guilty, and I know that's probably the point. But at the time when I was playing it, I guess I wasn't in the headspace to be able to tolerate being a villain. So
Yeah. No, it's and then you are I think the say protagonist, the antagonist, I guess, is younger, I think, if I remember correctly, in the game.
yeah,
Yeah. So, but the remake is actually incredible. Like it actually, like Blue Point did like an amazing job with the remake.
oh yeah, as they
Yeah,
do, yeah,
yeah, right,
yeah.
yeah. So is that in terms of what you're gaming right now on PC?
Yeah, I'm a one at a
Yeah.
time type
Okay.
of
Yeah.
gamer, with the
Yeah.
exception of racing or something like that. So if it's like a racing game, then I'll bounce that in between my regular games.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, Ramon, I've been playing Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC with ultra
Oh my
settings turned on.
goodness.
Oh, I tell you, with ultra settings, a game it's held up well. It's considering it's a 8-year-old game, it actually has held up pretty well. When you play it on PC at ultra settings.
I've got those in my
Um,
queue for later on this year.
yeah, yeah. And I went back and played because they released Rockstar released again Red Dead Redemption. I got out on PS5 Pro, played that during the holidays, beat that, and I was like, you know what? Let me actually dive into Red Dead 2. Since I didn't go back and play Red Dead when Red Dead 2 came out, so let me just dive into Red Dead and get back into Red Dead 2 and see what that experience is like. And it's been really awesome. But like I said, Red Dead 2 just holds up pretty well,
Oh
considering
yeah,
it's an 8-year-old game. Yeah, but the
incredible game.
gameplay mechanics, you know, visuals, I mean, it just looks really good. For an open world game that's 8 years old.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah. So, and then remind me, what's your build again? You have a 4080?
I I have a 4080 Super with a
Okay.
Ryzen 7 7800X 3D, 32 gigs of RAM,
All right.
and yeah. So I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy. I luckily built it 2 years ago, so I beat the RAM craziness, and I feel like I'm confident I can continue gaming at 4K or minimum 1440p until this whole everything starts to settle down with the prices. So I'm really happy with my build. It's been just a blast. Like Forza Horizon 5 full ray tracing, full everything maxed out, and I'm still hitting like 130 frames. Sometimes I even hit above like 135, creeping to 140 because I play on my OLED TV, and it
Yeah.
maxes out at 144 frames. So
Oh, you got the
um
new OLED.
yeah, it's the Samsung. It's a couple of years. I think it's like, what is it, 2 years old now? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
my
something like that.
OLED's pushing 3 or 4. I think it's 4 years now. No, actually, maybe if we have 4 years now. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, I think the 144s came out maybe the year after.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
yeah, I maxed out at 120.
Yeah, the
But
144s are
yeah,
new.
yeah. But I have V-Sync, G-Sync, all that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
it's
That's I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but man, because I mean I get it. Having a big tower and in your living room might be unsightly to some people, but dude, there is nothing like playing a game at 4K with a high refresh rate with oh my god, dude! Like
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank for Horizon Zero Dawn remaster slash, you might as well call it a partial remake, as good as it looks. Seeing that on 77 inches at 4K with all the settings maxed out, triple digit frames, there's nothing like it.
Wow. That's awesome, man. This is why I say PC is the definitive platform. Unless
I
you have a
will say
potato
it's the
PC.
definitive. Well, it's the definitive experience, but at the same time, you got to be willing to put up with a little bit of
Yeah.
stuff sometimes,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, Jedi Survivor will go down in infamy. That studio will go down in infamy with me as one of the most deplorable ports to exist.
I gave up on it because I wasn't getting consistent frames and I just kept tinkering. I was like, you know what? I don't know if they fixed it now, but I know with Star Wars Outlaws, my understanding is they fixed that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but
I got
yeah.
lucky. I got lucky because
Yeah.
I had a 4070 at the time, and Survivor ran well for me. Once you get off that initial planet, it runs better. But I didn't get any running into any problems
Are you talking
except
about the
for
like when you're in the city and stuff, that initial map or level, the
that
first level?
that first yeah, the first planet that you're on. Like, I
Yeah.
can't remember. It's been like a couple years now, but or it's been like over a year, so I can't remember. But yeah, like once you get to the latter parts, and there's a mod also that kind of fixed it. But um console, once they patched console is a little bit more of a stable experience. Obviously you're going to give up some performance and fidelity, but I think the console experience was, once they patched it, more stable overall than PC. But I still managed to do fine on my PC, and it's a beautiful game. But they just shouldn't have released it in that state.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do want to welcome to the show Matt Booty, also known as Game
And
Logic. What's going on? What's going on,
yeah,
Logic?
just want to say thanks. We had a very successful developer
Yes.
direct. Really proud of the teams. So thanks a lot for having me on tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. Thank you for joining. Kudos to the team. It was I saw a couple Game of the Year contenders there. I don't know if it's too early to discuss Game of the Year contenders, but I may have seen two.
Well, that's our objective. Our first objective is winning the battle against TikTok. But right after that, like a
That's
very, right after
important
that,
battle.
right behind it is getting on the leaderboards for Game of the Year nominations.
Yeah, no, that's no TikTok. That's very, very important to tackle TikTok, and just like I said, great developer direct, and you guys are winning. You most Mao, that's important. So
Matt, I have a question for Matt.
Yeah, certainly.
How does it feel to have slingshotted past Herman Hulst as having better judgment lately in game curation?
Well, I think that's always been the case. Like I said a few years ago, Redfall. There were problems with Redfall, but we saw it getting good traction in Game Pass. So it was a miss, but really, how big of a miss was it? So the main point is more, right? I mean, we here at Microsoft, we have the power to just spend Sony right out of the business, kind of like the United States did to the Soviet Union during the Cold War. So that's always been the plan, and I'm glad that the 10%, the slightly less than 10% of the gaming market stuck with us for the last 12 years to finally see the plan kind of unfold.
yeah, Matt, that's even though you're the Xbox platform makes up less than 10% of the overall console market. I just want to tip my hat to you and your team, the hard work and just propping up PlayStation. Just given how poor PlayStation's first party output has been this year or the last 2 years, and it's you guys are kind of carrying PlayStation along. I think that's kind of a big deal.
Well,
who wants to play a samurai game, right?
Well, you heard Sarah mention it like a couple months ago, right? Like we think the whole premise of exclusives is antiquated, and so
we've evolved way past that.
Yeah, it's time. It again, sticking with us for 12, 13 years. We're finally getting our act together on Windows. Making it a really convenient experience for people. It's an open platform, right? I'm not sure if people understand that. It's an open platform. Like anybody can build anything for Windows, and it's free, and you can play all your Xbox games everywhere. So, this is what gamers do. We understand that gamers don't really care about the hardware that they play on, right? So
Yeah, and Matt, to that point, gamers don't care about hardware. Exclusives are antiquated. I mean, that's a great point. I mean, I don't know why exclusives are a thing. I mean, like they're anti-consumer. I wish Netflix would drop Stranger Things, and I wish Netflix would be on HBO Max, or on my local broadcast station.
Yeah.
well,
Competition is so anti-consumer. I mean, having a bunch of companies trying to one up each other to get our dollars is the most anti-consumer thing I've ever heard.
you only have to look as far as Matt Piscatella's Circana charts that he just put out and see that the vast majority of the games in the top 20 are multi-platform, and we know that that's what everybody plays. So the existence of anything else in the market is really irrelevant, right? It just matters what the most people play.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what we're going to continue churning out, and that stuff's available in Game Pass for free. So it seems a pretty slam dunk, pretty easy answer for me. Um,
Matt, I got to say, the forward thinking over at Microsoft Xbox just never ceases to amaze me. I was thinking about McDonald's, and I'd really love for McDonald's to offer the Big Mac at Burger King. It's such an antiquated business model to serve up a hamburger like the Big Mac and only offer it at McDonald's. It just doesn't, just tear down that wall, Mr. Gorbachev, right? What you're doing is so pro consumer, and on top of that, I just want to say that you guys are light years ahead of Sony. Yeah, Sony may have started stronger this generation, but you guys have really caught up, and you guys are going to continue to blow past Sony because you're stuck in the old model. And look, no one buys consoles for exclusives anymore. You guys have it right.
well, I mean, I don't really know that Sony was ever ahead, right? That we were behind. I mean, look, we're a multi-trillion-dollar company, right? Like, what's Sony's market cap? So, we've never really seen them as competition, right? Our competition is Amazon, Google, Facebook, to a certain extent, Nvidia, right? So we're trying to navigate those waters, but we think we've come about it in a pretty good way. Our priorities on Copilot. So once we get those AI sweat pumps churning, and kind of gamers, especially gamers, we're not really happy with kind of the bad rep that they're giving AI. I think gamers don't understand how much AI really helps with the content that they consume. So what we need more gamers using Copilot, using those Windows PCs. Really that's, I mean, partially that's what helps fund these games, right? So but I'm pretty sure people will get on it. I'm pretty sure that 9.85% of the market, right, that has stuck with us and been faithful, is just going to become this overwhelming force. The 500 million MAU eventually means something, right? So as long as we stick with it, and stick with Phil Spencer's dream and his vision, titrated, modulated by whatever Satya decides to say, every 3 to 6 months, that might change that vision. But we're always executing on it. That's the important thing.
Yeah, Matt, I also want to say congratulations on getting Final Fantasy VII. Um, you know, um, I've always said that Final Fantasy VII should be on Xbox, right? And that, look, more games everywhere. It's a good thing. Gives developers the opportunity to be successful and maybe sell more copies of their games. Just makes sense, right? Just makes sense. I don't know why anyone would argue against that. So
Yeah, I'm
you guys,
I'm really confused by some vendors who don't get about like right now I'm playing The Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond the Horizon, and that's a game that chose to skip Xbox, and I really don't understand. They're all
the audacity.
JRPGs. They're all JRPGs, right? So clearly, Square Enix is sending Final Fantasy to Xbox. I mean, so all JRPGs should be on Xbox. It's really not an argument. Kind of just doesn't make sense. So I for one day will be happy when everybody sees that and understands the future that we've been trying to tell people really since the Xbox One, right? I mean, we give Don Matrick a lot of grief, but the guy had it right, and we're still heading down that path. So I'm pretty happy with how it's working out.
Yeah, no, I am too, and I do have another question, Matt, while we have you here on the show. So one of the things that really kind of has stuck with me, the messaging coming out of Xbox is that every screen's an Xbox, everything's an Xbox, right? And my wife just purchased a brand new full size SUV that has a nice, I don't know, it's a pretty decent size LCD screen. Is that an Xbox too?
Oh, absolutely. That's I mean, look, we just announced the deals with Hisense and TCL, and people talk about how that strategy, right, is a problem, but while we're going around putting Xbox on every screen and turning these billions of people into gamers, those very TV screens, that very TV market is the one Sony just had to back out of, right? Selling their TV business to TCL.
Yeah.
So what more proof do you need of our strategy working?
Yeah, it is working. You're right. I didn't even think about that. You're right. Sony's no longer, Sony is has a 49% stake ownership in this new endeavor with TCL. Yeah, you guys are ahead of the game. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, you guys are offer the best deal in gaming with the Xbox Series S. I mean, what a brilliant! You guys are playing 5D chess. It's amazing.
Yeah, look, we hire the best developers. People are really proud to join Microsoft. We have very good retention. The FTC kind of finally saw thank goodness, judges finally saw the wisdom of the acquisition, allowing us to buy Call of Duty, and now Call of Duty is like a stronger franchise than ever. So, again, what more proof do you need? It's like every day, right? There's yet another data point that proves that we were right all along.
Yeah, I mean, people like to bring up the fact that your console sales have tanked, but that's the old way, though, right? I mean, like that's the old way. And Nintendo and PlayStation, they're stuck on the old model. Nobody's going to buy consoles anymore. And it's amazing. You guys have the foresight to understand that the younger generation of gamers, like they don't want consoles. They're mostly playing on PC and handhelds and Roblox.
Yeah, it's the future. So, these things that other people talk about don't matter. Like the installed user base doesn't matter. ARPU doesn't matter. How much somebody spends in gaming is just really unimportant. What matters is MAU. So, and we're clearly the kings of that, so again, what more proof do you need?
Yeah, no, it's a great point, Matt. Well, I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man. Ramon, do you have any more questions for Matt Booty? Yeah, I don't know if we lost Ramon. Maybe, okay. Maybe Ramon will be back. All right. Logic, welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
It's a great way to start off the show. But yeah, so Logic, what are you playing right now? You mentioned you're playing a Trails game.
Hello, Tess, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Ramon.
Yeah, StreamYard muted me for some reason.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah. Yeah, Logic, so I know you're playing Trails. What else are you playing right now?
Oh, that's it. Trails is a 50 to 60 hour game. So I'm my plan right now is to chug through to the 17-hour point, which I should hit tomorrow, before I give any thought to taking a break and playing anything else. But so yeah, that's the only thing I'm on right now.
Yeah, well, you might given the weather we're getting, you may have some time on your hands to get some gaming in.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know if that game requires an always on internet connection, like every Xbox game does. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure if every Xbox game. I'm just throwing that in there.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. I want to move on to Matt Piscatella, our good buddy Matt Piscatella. Hey, Matt, who's only on Blue Sky now because he got tired of the idiotic fanboys who would get upset when he posted sales data. Makes no sense. And he shared with us I got to find it now. Give me a second here. Here we go. December 2025 U.S. video game market highlights thread here on Blue Sky. Increases in consumer spending on subscription service, hardware, and mobile content helped the U.S. video game market reach $60.7 billion in 2025, achieving a 1.4% growth when compared to a year ago. Matt also posted that total December project spending across video game hardware, content, and accessories grew 3% when compared to a year ago to $7.8 billion. Hardware subscription PC content gains drove that increase. Now, is this the data point logic that we were discussing earlier in the week? Remember there was a big hubbub over, oh my gosh, November Circana hardware is down. It's the worst, November month for November or whatever. It's the worst hardware month for November since 1995. Is this that data point, the 3% growth?
Oh yeah, that's part of it. I mean, there's kind of a big mix and swirl out there. So there was a worst November for the gaming industry, in particular for gaming industry hardware since 1995. There was Nintendo Switch 2 sales were down 10% in December over the holiday season, in comparison to where Switch was on a same timeline basis. There was also, junk in the instance where Nintendo stock in Japan was down 33%. So there's been a whole kind of swirl of, hug your consoles tight. All this data shows that the console market is bad. Nobody cares about AAA. AAA games are bad. Multiple data points oriented around supporting that narrative, we're out over the holiday break. And now we're coming through it on the other side and seeing that, not to say things are great, not to say things are rosy, not to say things are Tiffany cupcakes, right? But to say that the situation has a little more nuance and requires a little more levity and some more level-headedness to really understand what's going on. Really need to understand business cycles and the fact that, a down month does not mean a down generation or the end of an industry. I constantly go back to, are things hard?
I'm sorry. Can we talk about that again? Talk about the cyclical, how industries go through different cycles. Because like people again treat video games as if they don't have these cycles where it's up and down. Like this is all
special industry that doesn't adhere to the rules of any other business.
Yeah, they treat it like that, Ramon.
And so it's like every time one singular data point comes out, it's it's the world's hair is on fire. And this is what I'm not gonna talk about the author's name by name. I talk about it on my own solo cast, which will be posted tomorrow morning. But I will mention the outlet IGN. And IGN ran an article in December that said, ran a few articles in December. I think they ran an article for all of those. Maybe not the Nintendo stock one that was on VGC, but I'm pretty sure IGN ran one about the 10% Nintendo Switch sales. But also definitely ran, this is the worst November, right, since 1995. And I'm like, and that article ends with, we'll have to wait to see the data, the end of year data, to determine whether or not, there's really a problem. In the summary article was titled Red Flags. And it ended with, we're going to have to wait till January to see the end of year numbers to know whether or not, there's really a big problem or if this was just a goofy one-off. Now, when they ran the article this week that, growth was 1%, last year 1.4%, hardware was up 9%. It was up 10% in November. Even when they ran, this is the worst November ever. At that point in time, hardware was up 10% overall year over year. So they completely ignored that data point for the sake of writing the sensationalist headline. So in the article this week, they make no reference, zero reference, like no humility, nothing to the fact that, hey, maybe that headline we ran in November was a little bit overly, and now we see that again, yay, verily, there are still problems, but we're not in an era where there's receding growth, right, in the console market, where there's receding hardware revenue, right? So again, it just goes hand in glove with the way it starts with the media, but it's compounded by the YouTube, Twitter circuit, and content creators that people run around, wave their terrible towels, right? Yelling and screaming and patting themselves on the back and slapping themselves on the back like frat boys because they get one thing right, but zero accountability about the 99 things that they get wrong. Zero. And when you call them on it, when you present them the receipts, like I don't know that I've seen more juking and jiving, outside of like a mongoose fighting a cobra, right? Like to avoid the notion that they ever said anything wrong. It's just, in my opinion, it's embarrassing, and quite frankly, for the particular group that I called out for having, in my opinion, an entire lack of ethics, an entire lack of integrity when it comes to these things. You guys got mad about that, and again, I would say I don't care, because this is the exact point. You guys don't hold yourselves accountable to any standard or any rubric, So but by the same token, neither does the media. So, but here we have the data, and so when you look at things long-term trend analysis, there are things that come out, right? Nintendo being down 33% stock in Japan. I said on my own show, I'm like, yes, that is true. We need to acknowledge that is because this, that the stock was also at an all-time high when it dropped to 33%, right? And it's like double or triple over its value what it was during the Wii and then the bathtub of the Wii U generation. So when you say it drops 33%, that needs to be put in context. And so I'm glad this stuff is coming out to put things in context too.
Yeah, that's a great point, Logic. I mean, I think kind of what Ramon was saying, like the cyclical nature of the business, and like all markets, all consumer facing products. I mean, they all go through these cycles, right? There's never this big boom period. The other thing that we've talked about on this show is that there's this constant kind of, oh, well, consoles are dying because they're not experiencing astronomical growth, right? Well, yeah, there's only a finite group of people, consumers out there, that are going to want a console experience. That is no different from other consumer products that have mature markets. But yet, I mean, we see this with cell phones, a mature market. We see this with, luxury goods, mature markets. We don't have those conversations around those things. So I think a lot of this is just manufactured, like you say, Logic, fan fiction, and really just to push specific narratives to, prove that one business model is better than the other. Go ahead, Ramon.
Well, there's also a problem inherent in human nature as well, and that's why we get these sensationalist, misinforming articles, and that is by by nature, human beings are more responsive to negative stimuli. If they post articles saying, "Yeah, it's down, but everything is going good," blah 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 blah, like those articles will get a fraction of the clicks and comments and engagement as console market is dying, sales are down, blah blah blah. That lights it on fire. And it's why, I mean, you need look no further than, I mean, going to my profession, fiction. Would you read a book that has no conflict in it? I mean, would you play a game?
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are games that don't have combat or anything, and they just don't sell. I mean, they sell, but they don't sell as much as games that have combat, that have, some form of like really aggressive conflict involved. And unfortunately, it's the way humans are wired. So these articles, and these people who write these articles know that they get, in many cases, paid by the click and what have you, and they know that an article that is well sourced and tells the truth that the industry just took a dip for a minute is not as interesting as an article written saying the sky is falling. It's frustrating for those of us who actually want real data, properly presented, and the truth. But unfortunately, as with reality television, people respond more to the cheap McDonald's drama than actual, truth. So that's the biggest problem that we have with this, and we'll continue to have it.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, go ahead, Logic.
One thing that I want to add, Brad, is like what's crazy to me is I struggle. I'm sure there's an example somewhere. Maybe I'm just missing it. I struggle to think of another $92 billion business that we have the conversation literally daily that it's dying.
I mean, it's something that I see all the time, but when you articulate it that way, it just sounds hilarious. But I think it's because maybe this is just unique. I think this might be unique to gaming in that I don't know many other forms of entertainment where some of the most ill-informed people that you can round up feel the need to talk about the I don't know. Gaming is a special animal because it attracts people who are ill-informed but talk a lot, and that's not necessarily special. But the fact that they are immune to facts, like we were talking about earlier, Brad, on something else, they're immune to facts, but they like engaging, and sometimes they're not even gamers, but they like talking about gaming. I don't know any other industry where people who don't participate in the industry like talking about the industry. I mean, we saw it at the beginning of this generation where you had these people on certain shows who like setting social fires and, dead man walking quotes and all of that, and, yada, 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 aren't even gamers, but they like talking about how the industry is dying and how, one business model is just going to tank versus the other. It's, I don't know any other hobby or industry where that's so rampant.
Well, and not only that, Ramon, and this is a topic that I'm talking about a lot, and I think if you Piscatella also kind of articulates it, or maybe Rebecca Valentine did in her article, but he's talked about it earlier this year, and I've gone very bullish on it. Right, that there are two ends to the market. I think it was in his write up in the 2025 wrap up information. There are two ends to the market. There is an end to the market that is, and again, I'm gonna say this because it's true, not because I'm trying to insult anyone, but there's a part of the market that is an affluent part of the market, right? That spends money, and there's a part of the market that is not affluent, and where spend is decreasing. But what is true right now is that affluent end of the market is spending more and compensating for the lower end of the market where spending is lessening. And as long as that speed leader is present and the overall market is still moving forward, you're going to have a tough time overturning supplier behavior, because what the suppliers care about is they don't care about the end of the market where people aren't spending money. They care about the end of the market first as a priority. They care about it to a certain extent. It would be great to get that lower end of the market, right, to start spending money again. But their first priority, because this is the first rule in business, before you start sweating growth is protect the customers that you already have. And so the industry priority is about those people who continue to spend. And that's why this ignorance about, nobody cares about AAA, bull. Again, you're going to get to the chart. Look at the top 20 games, right, in the market that represents about 2/3 of the revenue gained in the console and PC space. And roughly 75% of those games are AAA. So please don't say an ignorant thing like nobody cares about AAA. No, you dumb, you don't care about AAA because you're on that lower end of the market that's not spending money. Right? And again, read the room and follow the ley lines. The ley lines say that you are not the first priority of the suppliers. And again, that's not to be, I jokingly use the term dumb, right? Because people in their socialist outrage don't pay attention to the laws of capitalism, right, and a capitalist economic market. And that's what results in, right, saying things that don't make any sense, like nobody cares about
Yeah.
AAA.
I think a
Yeah,
lot of
no,
these people just like to
100%.
talk.
That too,
Like,
Ramon.
like parrot syndrome. They just like to talk. Like, just like
Yeah.
when I hear people, they say, gaming has really gone down the toilet. Like, the games used to be so awesome, and then they start reveling in the NES, Genesis, Super Nintendo days. And like this was back when I was still on the garbage site, Twitter. I remember several times, just as a little personal social experiment, I would respond to that person, and I'm like, well, that's what makes this current age in gaming like brilliant. I was like, if you long for the SNES, Genesis, and NES games, I'm like, not only will you save a ton of money, but you're overflowing in content. I'm like, there are indie games right now. I was like, if you go on the indie scene, you won't be able to throw a rock like 2 inches without hitting 20 games that are the style games that you like. So I was like, man, I was like, you got it good. You got it better than all of us, and then no response. I did that 4 different times with 4 different people, and they never respond. So that, I mean, obviously that is a very that is a microscopic, what do you call it? Little social experiment of mine. But I think it's indicative of the fact that people just like to talk. I
Well,
don't
and the
know
truth,
why, but they just like to talk.
and the truth behind that is because those people aren't buying the AA and the indie games. Those people are waiting for the AAA games to go on sale and deep discount or pirate them. So
Because that's what they really want. Yep.
this BS about, well, we need, and I'm not disagreeing with that notion of we need more AA, and we need more indies. And yes, if you want the market direction to be overturned, yeah, those games do need to be more successful. As I said, I have this theory that what the industry should do, what the supplier should do, is they should raise the price on AAA games, right? Price some people out of the market and force them to buy AA and indie, which will allow them to produce some other games at lower cost. But Piscatella's statement was, retail spending has been holding up relatively well until now, despite the pressure from higher prices we've seen in the market. More affluent consumers have kept on spending so far, which has made up for some of the declines in spending from the less affluent portions of the market. So as long as you have that seesaw, right, it's at least in its majority, it's gonna continue. But yeah, Ramon, the thing is, I think that, like I said, I think I said that, I can't remember if I said this to Piscatella or not, but it's not that because hardware prices are rising on powerful hardware, as Chris Dring calls it, and because AAA games are expensive and they've gone to $70 and some to $80. It's not that people have suddenly started buying more AA and indie. What people have done is they buy fewer games. That's why you get the 30% who don't buy a game in a year, as Piscatella talks about, and they wait for those games to go on sale. And this is part of the reason why I think maybe you see more people on Steam, right? And you see their numbers going up, and you see growth in the PC gaming industry that exceeds growth in the than the console industry. But you don't see, again, as BRAP, I will turn over to you as BRAP goes through this chart, but you're not going to see any of those games on this top selling chart except for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which is a very impressive mark.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen this in I've seen this in the publishing industry as well. Like, people complain about the very thing that they still buy. And like your point, yeah, your point is a really interesting one about raising the price of AAA, pricing people out so that they'll buy more AA's and indies, because that I'm living through that to a degree right now. So to make 2 points at the same time, I bought a Nintendo Switch 2. I have no reason to want a Nintendo Switch 2 right now. But because of where the RAM situation is, and because we're living in an era for the first time where hardware, being an early adopter, actually is an advantage because hardware is going up, I grabbed a Nintendo Switch 2 now. Why did I do that? Because at some point, the next Zelda game, mainline Zelda game, is going to come out. And I didn't want to end up paying more for a Switch. So I decided to go ahead and get it now in case the price goes up. So that's a mark for exclusives. But on the other end of the spectrum, I just completely lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so Nintendo games are $99.99 in Canada. Donkey Kong Bonanza is $99.99 plus tax, so that's roughly about $115. So I bought that used. I went on Marketplace and I grabbed it from someone for $70. Not Monster Hunter. I can't remember. It might have been Monster Hunter Wilds, but there was some of the AAA Japanese AAA games on Steam are $94.99 instead of the usual $89.99 on Steam. So I either grab it on sale from like Green Man or Fanatical, or I wait for it to go on sale. There are a few games that I'll buy brand new, like Ghost of Yote, which after tax is $101.20. But usually, like I can't spend $100 on every new AAA release. So I pick and choose which ones that I pay, full price for, and then the rest of them I grab on sale either through a third party or when they go on sale on Steam. So I mean, but I even if I could afford it, I'd still buy a lot of AA and indies. But I buy a lot of AA and a lot of indies because one, I like them, but two, if the situation was different, that's exactly what I would do. I'd be like, all right, man, I can't do this. So what's over here? Oh, okay, this looks cool. And then there'll be a whole different segment of gaming that I would have introduced myself to. So I think your point stands pretty strong on that.
And Ramon, you are in my new financial model of the market that I'm coming up with. You are what I call a tier 2 consumer for games. And so in this new definition that I'm trying to establish, there's a tier 1 consumer that buys modern games, new game, right? That 4%, 18%, 12% of the market, that 34%, right? Those people are buying new games. They're buying a game a month. They're buying, what is it again? They're buying 2 games a year, 1 game a month, or more than 1 game a month, and the industry cares about them. You are a tier 2 consumer, and so you are buying releases within the last 3 years. So you're still spending. You're waiting for discounts, but you're not waiting for deep Steam level. Like you're not waiting for a game to be $9.
Oh yeah.
Right. You're waiting for a game to be like, half what it was, or more. You're okay with it being more.
Well, usually I think 20% is usually where I start to get more interested.
Yeah. And I think the industry still cares about you. And I think that, on the PC DIY side, they still care about you because you still need an RTX 4000 series, right? GPU.
Yeah.
You like if you're slipping to RTX 3000 series, you're starting to move out of the window, right? So, but the tier 3 consumer, the tier 4 consumer is not buying anything, right? They're doing free to play. They're waiting on the super, super deep discounts, right? They're waiting for things to be $5, $6, $7, or $8, right? And then the tier 3 consumer, is spending a little more, but they're also waiting for the deep discounts, right? Maybe they're not spending zero money. Maybe they're spending some, but those tier 3 and those tier 4 consumers, particularly on the PC DIY side, that those people they're part of the PC, the potato PC nation. They're still playing on last gen hardware if they're on console. So those are the ones that I think are in the PC DIY market or in the PC market. They're the 86%, but they're also not driving any revenue. So I mean, I don't think you were concerned about me throwing shade, but you're above the line, right, that I'm drawing of like the people who, aren't spending money. They're part of the socialist revolutionaries, but they're also on Twitter yelling and screaming about down with exclusives. We need less expensive hardware. every product that comes out from NVIDIA is a BS product that's overpriced. That whole crowd.
Oh yeah, and I mean, the from basing on your business model, tier 1 to 3, like, at least have a say. And like, I mean, when I look at my buying habits, like, I don't even remember, like, I buy a lot of games on discount, and then I typically buy 3 to 5 AAAs probably a year that are either, like, it's usually 1 or 2 that is full price, and then the other 3 to 5 would be like in the realm of about 20%, 15 to 20% off. But even tier threes, like it, like what you're saying, like, as far as what the market is concerned about, at least they, those tiers have a say. Anybody who is free to play, and there's nothing wrong with free to play, but I mean, you don't get a say because you're not contributing into the pot. It's like not voting, like you don't have a say.
And I should walk that back a little. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said it's a mix. I said tiers. It's really buckets.
Yeah.
And this is oriented around the stuff that NPD and Circana and Matt are not reporting, which is making having a conversation about some of the narratives really difficult. And that is, I don't care about where people are spending time. I care about where people are spending money.
Yeah.
And so this whole thing about, 40% of gamers right on Xbox and PlayStation are spending time in black hole games and blah, 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 blah. Like, I think what incentivizes the industry and what drives where the industry is putting effort, right? Because despite all of these metrics, it's not like the industry doesn't know them. It's not like PlayStation and Xbox don't know that people are spending 40% of the time in black hole games, right? It's not like they're making decisions in a vacuum. So despite all that, right, PlayStation is still funding exclusives. They're still funding narrative, cinema, high production value, single player games. They're doing that for a reason, despite whatever the data that we know is being presented to us. What we don't know is we don't know where the spend is. And so we don't know, even though people are spending time on that, we don't know that people are spending more money over there in microtransactions and battle passes than in aggregate they're spending on AAA exclusives, buying hardware, and driving customer lifetime value, CLV. So depending on how that whole morass works out, that is what is determining where suppliers are putting their investment. And that's information that we're not being told. So again, it's difficult for me to square up with, hey, 75% of the games on the chart for the end of the year are all multi-platform games. I'm like, okay, but 5 of the games right on this chart are kind of in the meat on the higher end kind of meaty part of the chart, right? Ranked 6 through 10. And there's a reason that Nintendo and PlayStation are investing and funding those. And I think it's because there's spend behind them.
And also, like with the AAA thing, like, I mean, we've all seen attachment rates and everything like that. And although those games make money, I mean, I tend to look at the AAA first party games as kind of like, not necessarily 1-to-1, but almost like the end cap at Walmart, right? You see the end cap and you're like, oh, what's this? You know what I mean? But in the case of with let's just say PlayStation and Nintendo, I mean, it's a magnet, right? It's a gamer magnet. It's basically what it is. It's a gamer magnet. It draws you into their store. Okay, you grabbed Ghost of Yotei, you grabbed Tears of the Kingdom. Oh, okay, well, while I'm in here, what else you got? And that's what, dude, seriously, I don't know what's going on with me today. I keep losing my train of thought. I'm just gonna stop it there. Like, you've articulated everything as it is.
Yeah, real quick, I want to.
Last thing I'll say is, just to tag on to Ramon's analogy, because I say this to BRAP all the time, exclusives are a doorbuster.
There it is. That's what I was looking for. Doorbuster. Yeah. Gamer magnet doorbuster.
Yeah. People can argue that doorbusters don't matter, but doorbusters get you in the store. And then the hope is that you're going to buy other stuff. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brett.
That's actually I love that analogy. You don't go to Black Friday because of the doorbusters at times, right? Well, not all the time, but you know they sweeten the pot. I want to welcome B Money to the show. What's going on, B?
What's going on, fellas?
Yo, what's up, B?
Not much, man. How you guys doing?
All right,
Doing
man.
well. Yeah. Great to see you, B. Thank you for stopping by. Look, B, I was gonna DM you, but I didn't want to DM you. But tough loss for the Bears, man.
Yeah,
That
it was,
was
man.
a tough game.
It was an exciting game, and we took it to OT,
Oh,
but
yeah.
we just couldn't finish the job. But great season by the boys, and
Oh yeah, absolutely.
we get ready for next year.
Yeah, you guys will be back next year. I think you guys are gonna. You guys had a good team this year. I expect the same next year. So
Yeah. So
yeah. But let me run down this list real quick. So B, we're going down Matt Piscatella, the Circana numbers for December. So we have December 2025, the top 20 best-selling premium games, and we have Call of Duty Black Ops 7, NBA 2K26, Battlefield 6, Madden NFL 26, EA Sports FC 26, Pokemon Legends, which is Nintendo exclusive, and then Metroid Prime 4 Beyond debuted at number 7. Minecraft 8, Donkey Kong Bonanza, another Nintendo exclusive, 9, and Ghost of Yote at 10. So Ghost of Yote is still selling well. All right, the 2025 top 20 best-selling premium games in the U.S. All right, so this is for the year 2020. Battlefield 6 is 1. NBA 2K26 is 2. 3 is Borderlands 4. Monster Hunter Wilds is 4. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is 5. Madden NFL 26 is 6. EA's College Sports 7. EA Sports FC is 8. The Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered is 9. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is 10. Ghost of Yote is 11, followed by MLB The Show 2025 at 12. Let me go down the list here. Also, I don't see this here, but I think Matt also reported that in regards to Ghost of Yote was the third best-selling game of the year on PlayStation 5. The two games that were ahead of it were NBA 2K26 and Battlefield 6. So
that says a lot for a game that came out at the end of the year, right?
Well, right, I mean, right, and Charted, was the 11th best-selling game of right behind Black Ops 6, was the 11th best-selling game ahead of other third-party releases, right? We should add that too. Other third-party games that were released on multiple platforms. It was number 11, and it charted number 11 at best-selling 2025 no matter what, 2 months.
Yeah,
So B, I mean, what does that say about exclusives, B? Because I'm sure you've seen the narrative. Exclusives don't matter. They don't sell. They don't bring people to the platforms anymore.
I mean, the platforms that have exclusives, they sell on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's only one main platform that doesn't have any exclusives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I wrong by that? If we look at the Circana charts for Nintendo, aren't like 7 or 8 of the games on their chart all exclusives?
Yeah, let me go. If you go to December 2025, you have what? Metroid, Pokemon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Am I missing any? 5 games in the top 20 for Nintendo.
Yeah. So, I mean, exclusives do matter. They do sell. They do push the platform. They increase the revenue overall, for the platform holder. They do matter. All this nonsense about exclusives don't matter. people are just, trying to change the narrative because, their favorite platform doesn't have exclusives anymore. And that's just what it is, man. At the end of the day, they matter. They drive people to the platform. They increase revenue. If that wasn't the case, they wouldn't do them anymore. And the only reason why Xbox doesn't do it anymore, which I talked about this for many years, is because people don't buy games over there. They created a platform with Game Pass where it allows people to get access to their games for a low monthly cost. So why would people be interested in paying $70 for a game when they were paying $1 for 3 years of access to Game Pass, or getting Game Pass for $10 a month or whatever the case is? Why would they pay $70 for a new game? The math just doesn't make sense. And now, Xbox is coming to realize that the math doesn't make sense, and that's why their games are everywhere. That's why Game Pass price increased. That's why if you look at the Forza Premium Edition, it's $60 to get access to that on Game Pass after Game Pass price increase. So, I mean, they're just trying to bring all that money back into their platform that they gave up with having that subscription.
Yeah, that's a great point, B. Ramon or Logic, any thoughts on the top 10 or the top selling games for December 2025 and the top selling games 2025? I'll take that as a no then.
I'll let you,
Okay.
Well, I was going to let Ramon go first.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe StreamYard muted him again.
Yeah, I think Ramon might be having some issues with StreamYard. Yeah.
So I think I mentioned some of these before, but obviously, like I said, the percentage of titles on the chart that are exclusive. May he rest in peace. Sorry, Vince Zambella couldn't be around to see it, but he did it, and I was a big doubter, right? That assembling this massive 1,500 developer strong team for Battlefield 6 that it was going to pan out right the way that they were trying to, but after years and years and years of being behind Call of Duty, they've walked away with a win, so to speak, in a year.
Test. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Ramon.
Yeah, we can hear you, Ramon.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's pretty impressive. I quite frankly, I'm very surprised for Borderlands 4 to come in at third. Despite Randy Pitchford's statements, I guess people apparently wanted Borderlands 4. Monster Hunter Wilds being at 4 surprises me as well. I mean, after all of the months of Capcom saying that game was being outsold by older versions of Monster Hunter. So that kind of surprised me. And good to see, I guess, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered coming in at 9th. I guess that indicates there was demand for that game. And I already mentioned kind of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It's kind of funny and interesting. I noticed that Helldivers 2 isn't on this list. So I guess that porting it over to Xbox didn't move the needle in the way that some people claim that it would.
Oh, man.
Oh,
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. I think this list kind of, to me, this list, I think to B's point too, your point, Logic, debunks a lot of the narratives that we've seen over the past year about, if you release your games on more consoles, the better, kind of like implying that it's a shoo-in, that you're going to generate more revenue, you're going to sell more of your games to more people. And that's not always the case. It's not a slam dunk. And you see something like Ghost of Yote that charts, number 11 for best selling game in 2025. And it's ahead of other, it's some popular franchises, I might add. It's ahead of some other third-party titles here. And it did so, right, on a limited install base and in a matter of 2 months. Some of these games have been out longer. Some of these games have been out longer than 2 months.
Yeah, on a $70 million budget.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, I mean, I just, And then like B brought up Nintendo. Nintendo has 5 games in the top 20 for the month of December.
I think if single player games are important to you, anytime a single player game charts against these black hole games, you should celebrate that. Especially if it gets anywhere like in the top 5.
Regardless of what platform it's on.
Exactly.
Or whose first party it comes from, or what platform it's exclusive to.
Exactly. Like anytime I see a first party game that's in the mix with these black hole games, I'm just like, it makes me feel glad, and it makes me feel relieved, because we need those games to be selling, because if that ever ceases, then we're going to start to see the well start to dry up a little bit. So, I mean, I'm glad people are still getting out there and supporting them. I wish they got out and supported them more, but I mean, attachment rates and everything, things are the way they are. Well, yeah, that's all I've got. As long as they're charting, I feel pretty happy about single player games and where they're at.
Well, I think what's interesting too is we see a mix of games here, right? We see, these live service titles, games that have, like Madden and EA, EA Sports, FC, Black Ops, NBA 2K26, and then you see these single player games that are sprinkled in there. Like, those are things that should be celebrated, right? I was talking about on this show kind of the diversity of content and games that we get. Like that should be celebrated, as opposed to this this dick measuring contest that tends to happen over video games, which is ridiculous. And that's kind of my takeaway from looking at, even the, best selling games of 2025. Look at the diversity of titles that we have here, right? I think that speaks to the industry. Look at a game like Split Fiction, right? Split Fiction is the 19th best selling game in 2025. It's a AA game, right? It is, like, those things should be celebrated, right? It sits amongst, games that have, large followings, higher monthly active users, and these games are able to carry their weight, and drive demand. And so I think that's something that should be celebrated. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is another one. So just my 2 cents. Yeah. Any other thoughts on the Circana numbers before we move on?
No.
Last note I'll mention is that one that you're on right now, the hardware comment. December hardware spending increased by 6% when compared to a year ago to 1.2 billion. Unit sales in the month fell by 8% versus December 2024, while the average sales price increased by 18%. Annual spending finished 9% ahead of a year ago at 5.4 billion. Interesting how there's no headlines about the industry being up in hardware spending by 6% in the month of December, or 9% overall.
Yep, fewer clicks.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Ramon. Like, I'm like, okay, well, where is that follow up to that November data point, right?
People are attracted to drama more so than truth.
Well, I'm not going to get started on that, but look, no, that's a great point though, Logic. About the hardware spend, because again, we saw the articles last month, it being down, the lowest since 1995, and I did see some people say, "Oh, this is proof that consoles are dying." It's like, guys, this is a cyclical business, right? There's going to be ebb and flows.
These simple-minded, straightforward, like, quote unquote deductions, and it's just like, well, yeah, it's obviously this, it's obviously because of this. Like, they just, like I said, man, people just talk. People just like to talk. It's the empty wagon makes the most noise.
That's funny. All right, I do want to move on to the Xbox Developer Direct that took place yesterday. I'll just give my quick 2 cents here. Well, actually, let me just give a quick second here. Quick summary of the developer direct. So the games they showed at the developer direct, we knew about Fable, Forza Horizon 6, Beasts of Reincarnation. The surprise reveal was actually Killed by Double Fine. So this was a previously unannounced game that was revealed yesterday. It's described as a weird multiplayer battle game featuring pottery. But actually, you see Tim Schafer, which some of the commentary when Tim was kind of molding. I don't know if you guys saw that when Tim was kind of molding the pottery. It's like, whoa, Tim, like, what are you doing? Anyhow, yeah, if you caught that, Ramon, but it was kind of like I think I was watching Colin, the guys from Last Stand Media from Sacred Symbols, like they're like, oh, whoa, what's happening here? So I thought it was kind of funny, but yeah, so that's very, you know what, and I'll say this, like I do appreciate the fact that even though that Microsoft bought Double Fine, I did have some concern, at least with Double Fine, that when they were purchased, Microsoft's going to get their hands on them, and they seem to be, to this point, letting Double Fine do Double Fine things, and I think that's great.
I agree with that.
I agree with that. I'm still worried about Double Fine because, I mean, we've seen what Xbox has done with successful studios. You know, well, I take that back. Now, let me roll that back. We've seen what Xbox has done with studios that launch a successful game. So I'm worried about Double Fine still. I'm happy that they've been allowed to make the game they want to make. But if this game doesn't hit, and based on some of the things they've said about Xbox has said about focusing on their bigger games and so forth, I'm still like, after this game releases and regardless of its results, if Double Fine is still around, then I'll start to maybe exhale a little bit, but I'm still a little nervous for Double Fine because of the Xbox's whole pivot lately. But as I said about the Circana charts, I think it is something to be celebrated that this game exists. It's not for me. I don't have any interest in it, but we need things like this because it is creativity and it is art, and it's
it's definitely not for me either, Ramon. It's not you know, I've enjoyed several Double Fine games, but this one isn't something that I'd be interested in. But again, I certainly appreciate the fact that Microsoft's allowing them to do or be Double Fine. Hey, let me ask you something, B. Do you have any worries? You share some of the same concerns that Ramon shares? Do you think Microsoft may eventually kind of get their hands, maybe turn Double Fine to a Call of Duty support studio? I don't think they will, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think they would be a support studio or anything, but I do think they might, let them go. I worry about them and Ninja Theory, and even Playdead is the one that's making Left 4 Dead, or what's the zombie game?
Is it Wasteland?
Yeah, I forget the name of the zombie game. It's been so long.
Oh, State of Decay?
State of Decay.
Yeah. Like, I worry about them too, just because like they've been mulling around with that game for forever, and who knows if it's going to be, the vision that they talked about originally. And so I do worry about some of those studios, even the team that made South of Midnight. Like these games, they aren't released to like set the world on fire, but it also just doesn't seem like there's much interest in those games. Like you just don't see like a lot of people talking about them. That they aren't really hitting on any charts. They're not, they just don't have high engagement. So once the money guys get involved and they start looking around and seeing that there's not much revenue coming in from those studios, they could be in trouble. But maybe they're flying low enough under the radar where they're not getting noticed. So there's a chance they could be gone, but you just never know with Microsoft. We could wake up in March, after the fiscal year, and there could be a whole bunch of changes. You know what I mean? So you just never know.
Yeah, but I almost feel like they at least with Microsoft, I feel like they kind of need these studios to. I don't want to say it's Game Pass fodder. I don't like necessarily using that term, but I feel like they need these smaller studios to kind of feed the beast, right? Put like smaller content into Game Pass. While this other studios are working on these larger, maybe AA, AAA games that take a little bit longer to develop.
I mean, you could say that, but they have so many partnerships with second and third party studios that, like when those games come out, it's like they didn't come out. You know what I mean? Like, how many people did you see talk about Keeper?
Honestly, not many, which is a shame because I play a little bit of Keeper. I liked it from when I played.
Right.
Yeah, but not a lot of. I didn't see a lot of noise around it.
Yeah, and even when South of Midnight came out, like even at the Game Awards, like it was just like, okay,
which is such a shame.
You know what I mean? It's just brushed by. You know what I mean? So, it's just one of those things where, like, if you're like a hardcore gamer, yeah, you're gonna pay attention to those games. But like you said and mentioned with the Sakana charts, like there's the vast majority of gamers are stuck in those black hole games, and that's just a fact. So like when you have like these games that come out, and if they don't find like an audience, you're just gonna keep releasing games. You're just gonna keep funding the studio. Like this isn't a charity. You know what I mean?
The one thing that gives me hope is that the small quirky experiences that are going to attract a niche crowd also aren't expensive. I don't imagine this game being expensive, so it doesn't need to be even a fraction as success. Doesn't need to sell a fraction of what even a larger AA game would need to sell in order to, move the needle financially. The only reason why I worry about Double Fine is because it's dependent upon the appetite of Xbox. Like if Xbox is fine with, like, let's just to throw numbers around, let's say this kiln cost, let's just say it costs 20 million to make, and it sells, let's just say 800,000 copies or 1 million copies, right? Well, let's say like 700,000 or 800,000 copies. I'm not fast with math in my head, but let's just say that is for that game an overwhelming success. Okay, yeah, it's not 5-10 million, it's not yada yada yada, but it's paid for itself and it's decently profitable. The problem, the thing that worries me is how big is Microsoft's appetite. Are they going to look at that and be like, all right, yeah, you made money. I mean, you made us $200, but we want $200,000. You know what I mean? Just using small numbers, but you get what I mean. Right. That's what my worry is like, the greed thing.
Yeah, you mentioned you kind of mentioned the partnerships, right? And I wonder, we get Slow-Mo in here real quick. We got the great Slow-Mo Backslap with us. Slow-Mo, what's going on, man?
Pretty good. Sorry I'm late. Some family
no
stuff popped up, and I tried to do all that, and long story short, I'm here an hour and a half late. So apologies.
Slow-Mo, are you ready, sir? Are you ready
for
what's coming tomorrow?
No, I'm not ready. No, I hate snow. And I don't want nothing to do with it. And frankly, I hope it's just some flurries. I know it's not, right?
No, it's not. It's not going to be just some flurries. That's wishful thinking, sir. Someone's like, yeah, I hope it's flurries.
I just want some flurries, man. Just, some little snowflakes here and there that don't stick to the road. I'd be happy. But no, I had to buy brand new shovels because all my shovels is beat up and broken.
Did you get the shovel of that video I sent you a couple years ago back on Twitter? Remember back on Twitter? I feel like I sent you a video of a shovel that I use, the one that has the handle in the middle of the shaft.
Okay, I hate the word shaft, but yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
I do too. I was going to say,
there's a handle in the middle of the long.
Yeah, let's just.
I'm like, I don't know nothing about that kind of shovel. I don't know what you did. But I mean, it's this one's got a curve in. I got 2 shovels that got curves.
Hey, pause.
Oh, hey, look, we're deep in it now, so we might.
No, you're making it worse. You're making it worse.
We might as well just finish at this point. So.
Oh no. Oh my goodness!
Hey, you need to fast forward the video to the kiln while they're having these conversations.
Yeah, exactly. Let me get to the kiln here real quick. Where's the kiln? Hold on. Oh, here we go. Right here. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, did I miss it?
No,
that was a whole lot of pause.
This is like the beginning of it.
Yeah.
He drops it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is
her acting's horrible, but
the part where
so she's
the part where he's doing it is before this.
Is it?
That. Yeah, I think so.
What is he doing?
When he's
when his hands are off,
he's on the
off
wheel.
screen. Yeah, when his hands are off frame.
Oh, here we go. Right here. Here it is. Right here.
So now you guys can talk about your shafts and your
talk about
handles and your
there you go.
With the curve in it.
Look.
I have lost the urge. To
I have no idea. I don't know what happened.
See, I was gonna say that the model of shovel that I have will save your back, but that probably doesn't help you.
No,
it's got to save his knees, though. It's got to save his knees.
Well, yeah, that too. Like
we don't want to be talking about back shots.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Slobo, real quick, I'm going to deviate from the topic here. We were going to do the Xbox Developer Direct.
This is how.
Yeah. And I'm going to leave it playing here in the background, but I wanted to have you on because we have March is going to be here shortly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with March comes the release of Marathon. And I was talking to a former executive in the gaming industry, and he mentioned, I won't mention his name. We were talking about the acquisition of Bungie by Sony, and he didn't think it was a good acquisition by them. Thought it was kind of a knee jerk reaction to what Microsoft was doing. Just thinks it's a bad acquisition. Mm-hmm. And we've talked a little bit about on this show. Marathon doesn't need to succeed. Does it have to be successful? I think maybe you and I maybe had this conversation too last time you were on. But Marathon, I mean, it comes out in a month. The pre-orders seem pretty solid on Steam and PlayStation, from what I understand. But does this thing need a hit? I know it's an open-ended question. It's kind of a
I don't know for Sony what is considered successful.
That's true. That's a fair point. Yes,
because I feel like Concord was an unmitigated disaster with the numbers that they had, right? But
it was terrible.
I can't see Marathon doing that poorly, but then I also would think it's a huge long shot for them to kind of have the concurrent numbers that say Helldivers 2 has, or even had at launch, right? So I kind of wonder if they've got their kind of finger on the pulse of what is sustainable, and because I don't think it like when it comes to Bungie or the acquisition that this needs to be a success, or there's going to be like major grand sweeping changes with Bungie. They've already gone through major grand sweeping changes already with layoffs, with new leadership, with Sony coming in and kind of like basically driving the car now. I think that like it is where it is, and that they've already somewhat prepared themselves for this thing to be a failure if it does. I mean, I've seen some Destiny fans who believe that if it fails, hey, well, maybe we'll get a Destiny 3, and I don't think they quite understand that if that were to happen, a Destiny 3 would look very differently than what Destiny 2 and Destiny 1 looked. Like it would be a Destiny that Sony would feel is sustainable, not what they've done before, which they have largely concluded is not sustainable. The big annual expansions every year, those are expensive. To be able to put that kind of like content in and get it ready and to go, like that. It's not like a Madden or NBA 2K where all they're doing is just updating rosters and adding in one little new feature here and there, but nothing has really changes. You're doing brand new content, new voice actors, new story, new gear, new weapons, like that's a lot to do in a year, and you won't be getting that again. I feel like, yeah, they want Marathon to be successful, but if it's not, they'll just pivot to the next thing, wherever that is. I don't think it'll be a Destiny 3, but they'll pivot quickly, but probably not as quickly as they did with Concord, because that was like 2 weeks. All right, take it back. Here's your money back. Let's just pretend like this never happened, right? I don't think you can do that with Bungie. Bungie is got too much history, too big of a reputation to kind of like unlaunch their game like that. Plus, I kind of feel like maybe Arc Raiders may have helped it out a little. I think this delay may have been the best thing for them. If they would have launched alongside Arc Raiders, that would have been embarrassing. We can all kind of agree that now with 12 plus million copies sold for Arc Raiders. But the reason why this might be helpful for them is that Arc Raiders kind of has been creating new extraction shooter fans. And if you're someone who, say, may have come from a Call of Duty and you're playing Arc Raiders, you may feel somewhat like, maybe this PvP isn't as good as I would like it to be. It's not what I get from Warzone or Call of Duty multiplayer. Bungie, if Bungie is worse with Marathon than Arc Raiders in everything, the one thing that they will not be worse than them in is the PvP. That's the one area I think that they will be better than Arc Raiders in. And that might be their like saving grace. That might be their how they can differ themselves away from what Arc Raider does. Because if you're just like, hey, it's another extraction shooter, except this one's in first person perspective, I don't really think that's enough to really get people to start playing your game over the competition. But if you provide something in the content or just through the gameplay loop that's more satisfying than what Arc Raiders does, then you got a chance. So I'll say all that to say that it's, even if it does fail, I don't think that this is like the end of the road for Bungie. I think they got at least one more in them, if you want to do a Vince Carter reference. So yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Slow-mo. You mentioned like the one area where they could differentiate themselves is the PvP piece, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of speaks to Bungie's pedigree. I have an inherent bias towards well, I just don't like the way Marathon looks. So it's hard for me to be when I look, I'm like, I just don't like because I'm used to Bungie doing, when
you say you don't like the way it looks, you mean the art style? You mean like
the art style?
Gunplay is?
The art style,
okay.
yeah, the art style, yeah, the visual aesthetic, the art style. I just don't care because I've Halo, and then now and then Destiny. So that to me is like, this is not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just not. Yeah, it just doesn't resonate with me.
I mean, to me, it's like it's almost like the correct transition. If you look at what Halo was, if you look at that art style and the like the character designs, and then you look at what they did with Destiny, art style and their character designs, this is like the next transition. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be big, you got to be bold. You know what I mean? And I think it's dope. I think that's why so many people are kind of like messing with it, is because it's not like the typical art style that you see from a game like this.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting point, because you're right. Like you look at the evolution of Halo to Destiny, right? And this is completely a break from those two games, visually speaking. But yeah, go ahead, Slomo.
No, I was just gonna say I something else that I think people were saying would make it a guaranteed failure was the price tag. They were going to charge for it in an era where a lot of successful live service games are free to play, and they saw what Helldivers 2 you could charge for a live service game and it'd be successful. And Arc Raiders really proves it, considering it's in the same genre, and that's $40 and it's successful. So I think their chances have slowly started to climb up to be successful. But I think they also need to really address a lot of the criticisms that this game had from people who played it in early access before that delay, because the lack of modes, the lack of different operators, the lack of maps, they had some other content that they were working on that would be things that Arc Raiders doesn't have at all, but those things weren't going to be available at launch. So you're going to have potentially some people who, if they didn't delay the game, they would have been like the things that they were considering their very best content would not be there. And these are things that they're claiming will be there now that they did that delay. So I wholly feel like the delay is a good thing for them. In addition to them distancing themselves away from the plagiarism issues, even though they got that rectified, there's a lot of people that were just completely wrote the game off because you guys out here stealing content from people. Then there was the whole debacle of they got caught doing this before with Destiny. Said they were going to make it right with the people that they stole content from, and then you find out later on, while this whole new set of plagiarism happens, that they never did that. So it's just, you gotta kind of distance yourself as much as you can away from these kind of things, because these are the things that make people want to just say, I don't really have a dog in this fight, but I almost don't want to play the game because I feel like I'm contributing to, these issues that you tend to have. We're stealing, work from other people. So, as a matter of fact, they fired their art director too, or he quote unquote moved on or resigned.
Yeah. I think he moved on before they found out about the plagiarism thing, if I remember correctly.
Oh no, he was there.
He was still there.
Yeah, so he not only was he there, he tried to make a statement about it to say I forgot what the statement was, but he attempted to pretend like he was ignorant of the woman's work and how the exact symbols that she had put into her work with the same kind of art style was present in his game that he's the art director for. But people went to his social media and saw that he was following her on Instagram and Twitter.
Wow.
And it's just like,
what a bastard.
Like, how do you bold-faced lie like that and then act like you don't know who she is, and then whoopsie, you've been following her? It's just whether it's true that they claimed it was a contractor that plagiarized her work. It doesn't matter. The end of the day, you didn't check to make sure that this stuff was authentic, and you just got to eat that and own that. And it made sense on their part to basically part ways with this art director when you can't really tell whether he's telling the truth about like all the work that was done is just some contractor who's not even with us anymore. Very convenient. Meanwhile, you're pretending like you didn't know her and you were following her all over social media. It's just they had to distance themselves away from that, and they did. Which every time people bring up Marathon this year so far, no one has really said I ain't playing that trash game that they stole all the content from. That kind. No one's on that kind of energy anymore. So
yeah, I haven't seen how it's kind of died down. Yeah.
Yeah, you know how social media is. Everything is dramatic and such a big deal for 5 minutes. Then after that, it's just like whatever.
Yeah. It's interesting. As a fan of Bungie's work, I'd like to see the game do well for them. I don't know if it's going to be something I play though, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I played Arc Raiders. I enjoyed it. I just haven't gone back to it because I've been playing Red Dead 2, but I know my 11-year-old was playing Arc Raiders. He liked it too. It's funny, him and his friend. Hey, you know what's interesting about Arc Raiders, Slow-Mo? When I started hearing kids at school talk about Arc Raiders, I'm like, oh, okay, something's like. I mean, kids. I mean, like my 11-year-old son. I just happened to hear a conversation with his friends about like playing Arc Raiders. I'm like, what? You play Arc Raiders? Like I was
hit the casual, the casual kid audience. So it's pretty much well established at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like, and so like my son and his friends were playing it, and it was like it was a thing. I was shocked. I was shocked. So, no, Slobo, are you anyone on the panel? I think you're picking up Marathon, right?
Yeah, I'll try it out. I play every multiplayer game. I was playing some Call of Duty earlier today. I just
gotcha.
Can't help myself. I gotta keep playing. If you give me the opportunity to shoot somebody in the face digitally, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, okay.
That was a really good little add-on there. You're very smart, sir.
Yeah. I had to make sure that people understand digitally and not like in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
In the video game.
Video games, not in real life.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyone else on the panel have any concerns, thoughts about Marathon picking it up?
I'm definitely gonna pick it up. I pick up every one of Bungie's games, whether they're supposed to be great or not. So I'll definitely check it out, see what it's hitting for.
Yeah. All right. What about you,
multiplayer? I'm not really a multiplayer person, so it's a pass for me. Just conceptually, but I do hope it does look like they've turned it around, and I'm interested in seeing the outcome just out of just fascination. Like they seem to have what makes this really interesting to me is I remember something about a Bungie person saying that the community tells you what they want, and we'll give them maybe one thing, even though we know that they want all of this, and you string them along. It was something about that I remember.
Yeah, it was extreme. Yeah, like I had stand Bungie for stuff like that. Yeah, there was actually a Bungie director that went to GDC.
Yeah,
he did a presentation on live service games, and that's what he said it there, and I was very shocked that he would admit that.
And that's what makes this whole thing potentially fascinating to me, is because after he said that, now we see all of the things they've done to improve Marathon based on feedback. Was this Sony saying, hey, remember when you said that you do this at GDC? Okay, now you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna go sit over here. So you go sit down over here. They're like Darth Vader when he like strangles the guy on screen. He chokes the guy, force chokes the guy out, and then the guy standing next to him, he's like, okay, now you're Admiral. You know what I mean? Like, I just wonder if this was Sony or PlayStation stepping in and saying, or Sony stepping in and saying, yeah, that thing that you said, you're not going to do that. You're going to take all that feedback that you got, and you're going to parse it out, and you're going to implement it, and you're going to turn this game around. So that I'm kind of curious, just from that standpoint, the fact that they took all that feedback, how much of a difference it's going to make, because sentiment has been turning around. So to me, it's just going to be fascinating to see just how big of a turnaround, if this game can actually come back from the grave.
Yeah. All right, Logic, what about you? Are you planning on picking up Marathon?
I have no idea. It all depends on what I'm playing at the time and whether or not I finish it, in a time to pick it up. What I will say is, I've been waiting for Slow-Mo and I to get together. Slow-Mo knows that I was very bearish on the notion of extraction shooters, and thought that it was it automatically consigned it to failure, or just a barely meager fingernail on the cliff kind of a launch. But the interest has definitely grown. I think Call of Duty not hitting all of its marks has helped with that. I think Arc Raiders has helped with that. And so I think some of the game design choices that people are making, and we kind of talked about this, right, with Marathon, that there were vectors that they needed to find that went beyond like the seal clubbing, EVE Online background that kind of informed the design of Escape from Tarkov. And I think Arc Raiders does that. And from what I've heard and what I've read about Marathon, I think they are seeking to do that also. And they've got the PlayStation like brand backing behind them and the Bungie name. And what my biggest concern was with Marathon was it felt initially like it was just it's PlayStation, it's Bungie, so therefore we can do whatever the F we want to do, and people will just buy it just based on brand name and the gravitas of the studio name. But I think extraction shooters miraculously have made some weird leap in a 2-3 month span of time, and there's a very good chance for success of Marathon. I think when you talk about success, it doesn't need to be successful. My thing that I've always said about Marathon is there are some people who ran around and said, the benchmark for Marathon success is Destiny 2. And I'm like, that's ludicrous. Like, and nor do I think it's a business mandate or imperative for it to do anything like Destiny 2.
Yeah, that's lightning in a bottle, man.
Yeah. It just needs to, it needs to be a going concern, right? And have a fan base that it onboards and remains loyal to it. I don't think it needs to be a huge fan base. But I think if it gains traction, then I think that there's a chance for it to blow up. As they continue to dig at it, they need that Ubisoft stick-to-itiveness, right, with it. And as long as they do that, then I think they'll be okay.
I don't even know if Ubisoft has that anymore. You think about X Defiant.
Yeah,
X Defiant, they canceled that after a year of it being out. And if I recall correctly, I remember checking its concurrent numbers on Steam, and knowing, of course, that's not like the full, total concurrent numbers, considering it doesn't include consoles or other platforms on PC, other storefronts. But Steam's numbers was like over 100,000. It still had over 100,000 players playing the day that they announced that they were shutting it down. It's just like, I don't know what success is for everyone. Because clearly a smaller indie developer would take 100,000 concurrent players on Steam alone and say, hey, we did that. We did that thing. Look at us winning. That would be the mindset. Ubisoft looks at it with 5 different development studios helping the main developer with all the whatever the cost was that they put in to get it done. In addition to all the costs that is they're consistently incurring to continue to do additional seasons and whatnot, the loss of the 10 million players that played the game like within the first month, and or it may have been the first week, I can't remember, but it was like some really extremely high number, into not over 90% leaving within 3 months, and they said, nah, we're not good. It's a very different mindset than how they stuck it out with Rainbow Six Siege. They stuck it out with For Honor. They stuck it out with, any of their other games that are like live service component games. The Division, they stuck it out for a while, before moving on to Division 2. And it's just, I don't know if they do that anymore, especially now with this restructuring nonsense they got going on. But I wonder, because I'll pose this question again for Sony: what is success for them? Because success for them might not be success for somebody else or even another publisher. Like you could say EA might look at, considering they're far more established in live service games, whatever numbers Marathon gets, they would say that's not good enough for us. We need more than that. Hell, if you look at the fact that Battlefield 6 was the best sold game last year, but even those numbers aren't good to Activision. So, which makes Black Ops 7's numbers even worse. But the numbers that Battlefield 6 has isn't comparable to what Call of Duty was doing for over a decade. And even now, this year with Black Ops 7 not doing this great, it's still number 5 on Circana year to date. It's just like everyone has their own different measurement on what they believe is like good to continue on. I'm just at least hoping that they hit those numbers, whatever they are, and they're able to continue to keep making the game. Because when you really start to hit your stride and you get a couple seasons in, you really start to get a feel of what the community wants from you, then the game can really grow. Like I literally reinstalled the finals this week. Played the finals, enjoying myself.
A bunch of new modes to it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's freaking great. It's so much better than it was when it was like everyone was talking about it. Oh, the finals is awesome. It's way better game now. Nobody talks about it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, when
I hope Marathon can make it to that point. My bad. Go ahead.
When I make that statement, I think that it's like maybe a slight difference in what we're talking about is my statement about the Ubisoft stick-to-itiveness is it's actually abstracted from the numbers, right? And I admit Ubisoft has to make some different choices now about stuff. My personal feeling is the decision to cancel X Defiant was a lack of confidence in the studio that was heading it up, given that wasn't something that they had done before, and just a doubt as they saw things going down the line, a doubt that they could stick with it and turn it around. So when I say stick-to-itiveness, it's actually the Ubisoft stick-to-itiveness in the absence of numbers justifying it. Right. So yes, that happened with X Defiant, but I mean, and I talked about this earlier this week, and it's literally mind-boggling to me. I feel like it's magic. Like I don't know, like Riders Republic is still getting content that makes no sense. Skull and Bones is still, and I'm like, what? And it's this weird thing that I talk about with Ubisoft, where it's like an Ubisoft game comes out, it comes out to kind of lukewarm critical reception. It has mixed reviews on Steam. And so you say, I'm not going to play that game, right? Then you turn your back on it. You turn around a year later and look at that thing on Steam. It's got mostly positive, very positive, overwhelmingly positive. It's somehow a community has grown up around it that supports it. It's the thing that I point to with The Crew. When The Crew was being taken offline, there was a sudden outcry. Like it was like Ben Kenobi feeling the voices crying out from Alderaan, right? It was a sudden outcry, and it's like it was an outcry because people cared about it, because like this weird community had grown up around it that stuck with it, and Ubisoft sticks with it. And so Rainbow Six Siege, I mean, I agree with you. Like it was a complete turnaround when none of us, including me, I had played the Rainbow Six franchise for 20 years, right? And when they talked about what they were doing with Siege, I was like, that makes no sense. That's not what we want. Right. And I saw it and it came out and it flopped. And I was like, see, told you. Right. And Ubisoft's response was hold my beer. Right. And now that thing is one of the biggest things going in games as a service. So my thing about it is that it's that commitment to a property and to the business and to the studio. And I wonder, I almost feel like there are times that Eves has said, don't worry about the numbers. Right. And if he and management had just put their trust in the studio, regardless of what the numbers was, and gave them time, right, to make the thing a thing, that's the only way I can explain. I can look at some of these titles that they have and go, like, why in the hell are they still putting skin right behind, on that, So that's what I mean by Marathon. I'm hoping that Sony has a commitment, that PlayStation has a commitment to Marathon and Bungie, and isn't like, clock watching them on the metrics like every month. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I agree with that.
All right, gentlemen, I want to move on to Developer Direct here, which was yesterday. And we started this slow-mo, and then you joined us. You were talking about shafts or something.
Well, hold on. Let's clarify. Ramon started talking about shafts. Ramon, yes. And then talking about how he sent me.
You came in here.
He sent me pictures of shafts a year ago
with a handle in the middle of the shaft.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't know anything about this. I don't recall ever seeing that. So that just to clarify, for those who may have entered into the stream after all that was said, I wasn't talking about shafts.
To realize I was on with a bunch of degenerates. So.
Oh my goodness! All right, so yesterday's this was the 2026 Xbox Developer Direct. It did focus on 4 titles. We talked about Kiln, which is the Double Fine title. We talked a little bit about that. You saw the Tim Schafer video there. We saw Fable, Forza Horizon 6, and Beasts of Reincarnation. And right now, if you see the background here, Forza Horizon 6 is playing set in Japan. And I got to say that I thought Forza Horizon 6, I think it's a great looking game. I think they put a lot of, the developer director talked about a lot of the scouting of Japan, and there was a consultant they worked with too. I forget who that was or her name. Understanding, I think some of the I don't know if it was Japanese race culture, but they have someone there as a consultant. But yeah, they went to Japan, took pictures and of the different landscapes in Japan, and you see the cherry blossoms there, the bamboo forest here. I think this game looks great. I think it's a great looking game. I'm not a Forza Horizon. I haven't played Forza Horizon in years. It's not my cup of tea anymore. But I think the game looks great. I think it looks great. I think it's probably going to be another solid addition to the Forza Horizon series. So I'll open up here to the panel. Panel thoughts on Forza Horizon 6.
Sure. I'm probably going to play this for 2 weeks and then not play it no more, which is what I usually done. That's not like a slander thing. That's what I do with every Forza Horizon game since 4. I played for 2 weeks. I play nothing but Forza Horizon for 2 weeks. And then I remember, I don't really care about racers like that. And then I finish the festival. There's always a damn festival. And then I just go, yeah, I think I'm done. And
here's the cultural consultant on screen right now, Kyoko Yamashita. She's the cultural consultant I was referring to. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Slomo.
Yeah, and I think all that's dope. I like the level of attention they're putting into their Forza in Japan, and I do like how they got like not necessarily, I call it the Fast and Furious mode, where essentially they got like they call them open races. They got areas that will be on the open map where you can go and you can like congregate among other players in the game. You can show off your car, you can trade paints and decals, you can say, hey, let's race for slips. I don't know if the slips thing is real. I wish that's real. Make that happen. I want to race for slips. I might play it for 3 weeks instead of 2. But essentially, like, you can do races from there, where people who are in those little open areas can all do that. And it's very much like car culture kind of stuff. And I'm glad they added that in there, because I was still somewhat disappointed that there's still another festival. I just kind of I kind of wish they would move on from the festival. I feel like it's been there since 3 at least, maybe 2.
Yep. It's 2. 2 is when the festival started.
Yeah. Can we move on? Let's have like our main character be voiced like by a real voice, someone who can like convey some emotion. Let's have some real things go on. Let's get some guns in there. Let's like have a shootout and be like, hey, like let's have like Bow Wow as your sidekick. He's just yelling, all the time in the background. Let's
I know you do not pull out Bow Wow.
A girl. Let's have a girl, a love interest, or hey, if you have a female avatar, a male or whatever, whatever you're into.
Did you say Bow Wow? Did you really say Bow? Are you describing the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift?
Maybe it's in Japan. Okay, so look. I'm sorry. I want Tokyo Drift as a game. That'd be great. But what I'm saying is, do something different, because it's just the same thing over again. Except it's got a new look. I'm glad you're gonna be able to drive through Tokyo and all kinds of awesome mountains. It's gonna look amazing because Forza Tech always looks amazing. But the reason why I quit it after 2 weeks, because it's the same stuff. It's just the same stuff over and over again. I just want a little different, man. I want some shootouts. I want some girls in mini skirts, walking, in and out of the cars and everything before we get started. Again, I want Bow Wow in the passenger seat screaming every time I drift on a turn. I want something different, damn it. Give me something different.
All right, fair enough, Slow-mo.
I'm gonna go last because I have a lot of thoughts.
For me, I'm picking up day one. I haven't really played Forza Horizon since 3. And I actually went back and looked at my tweets from like 2017 or 18, I think it was, when we were doing a Tick podcast. Like, this was one of the things that I've been asking for since then, is for Forza to go to Japan. So I'm glad they finally made it. You know, Honda boys rejoice. You know, we gonna be in there deep. You know, R types, Integras. Yeah. You know what I mean? Acuras. We gonna be in there deep. You know, repping that Japanese car culture. So I'm gonna be there for that. But
is it GTR in this? Assuming it probably is, right?
Yeah, I believe so, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, we definitely gonna be on there.
They showed the Skyline GTR, and I think that's it's an interesting thing that, you know, here we go to, like, you know, the country it actually, you know, comes from and originates in, and in some cases certain models you can only get like in Japan. So I think that'll be interesting. Go ahead, B. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But I'm there for day one. Definitely looking forward to this. And, you know, like Slow-mo said, I do agree. I think we need to get away from the festival. That's one of the reasons why I didn't really get into the last couple, is because I felt like they're just kind of doing the same thing. It's just a new backdrop. So hopefully, you know, going forward, you know, after this, we can, you know, switch it up and give us something a little different. I don't know if you guys ever checked out the Crew Motorfest, but that game is pretty dope too. It's very similar to what Horizon offers, but it's Ubisoft's spin on it. And
thank you for saying that, because it's been on my radar and I've been trying to decide.
Yeah. It's pretty dope. I got it. I think earlier last year. They had it on sale with like the like couple year passes. So I went ahead and picked it up and, you know, checked it out, and it's pretty good. So if you're looking for something comparable, you know, to Horizon, that's definitely a game to check out.
Go ahead.
Someone in the chat said I need to check out Need for Speed Unbound. I feel like I own that, but
look, if someone can't shoot someone hanging out the car, he doesn't want to play it.
Yeah, Need for Speed Unbound will probably give you a little bit more of what you're looking for, as far as like the you know, having interactive characters and things like that. Some people don't really like it because it has like an anime cart, or like an anime style to like the characters or whatever. And it kind of mixes like realistic and anime, like it has an anime overlay on like some of the stuff, like when you drift and stuff. But it's a pretty good game too. I did like the time I spent with it.
Yeah, I might have to check that out. You know, I'm not the biggest racing guy anyway. Like I wouldn't touch a Gran Turismo or Forza Motorsport, because I just like that simulation racing. I do not care about the shocks and struts, the brakes, the kind of tire. You have the right tires. The what? I don't care. So like for like that stuff is just way too in the weeds for me. So like I give me a nice arcade racer. Like I don't even care for the amount of customization that's in Forza Horizon. I be talking to other people I know who play it, like, hey yo, give me your give me your specs for this car. Like tell me what to put in. Like, you know how, like, I forgot what it's called, where you can take whatever like a build like that you have for a car, and you can publish it so other people can see how you tuned it. The tunes, I'm taking everyone else's tune. Like if you're friends with me and you're playing that game, I got all your tunes, because I'm not doing it myself. I'm not sitting here and just, you know, hey, is this one gonna work? Is this one? No. No, I want to drive the fastest this car will let me to drive, with the best handling possible. What you got? And then I steal it from someone else. So like, I all that extra stuff, you can miss me with that. I don't have anything to do with it. But yeah.
Logic before I go.
I mean, certainly the game looks interesting. And Slow-mo, I was actually going to tell you, you can go back and play the old Need for Speed Most Wanted games in Carbon that had Tomo Pennicott in it from Battlestar Galactica. If you want that full motion video and all the cheesy dialogue, have fun with that.
Sounds right down my alley.
I played Need for Speed Unbound as well. It was a fun game. I agree with B Money. The Crew Motorfest is really super interesting. It actually has some pretty neat kind of events. And in fact, Slow-Mo has like cheesy radio dialogue from like the teams that you're racing with on there as well. Like if you want stuff like that. And
Josie Moran, Crew, or this is Need for Speed.
This is the Crew Motorfest. And, Josie Moran was in which one was she in? I can't remember which one, but she was either in maybe Most Wanted or she was in she was in 2005 Most Wanted, and yes, she wears a miniskirt. If that's what you're looking for.
Hey, look! You gotta play the part. You have to look the part. You gotta play the part.
So, but yeah, the game looks interesting. It's awesome that it's going to Japan. For me personally, where I am with the Forza series is, Motorsport wasn't great. I am in a wait and see. So Forza Motorsport was the first game since the Xbox One launched. First Forza game that I didn't pre-order. And generally when I pre-ordered, I would pre-order like the $100 like package with like the VIP pass and all that stuff, right? Because I was in 10 toes down on Forza. I'm gonna wait and see, because I'm assuming that Forza Horizon 6 is built on the last upgrade of the Forza Tech engine from Forza Motorsport. It was very interesting to me during this whole direct that despite them talking about this being done as a partnership between Playground and Turn 10, I saw not one person from Turn 10 in the video ever at all. So some of the weirdness of what is going on with that is still like strange to me. So I'm gonna wait and see on this. It's and it's like with the other things, it's a matter of what I'm playing at the time and whether or not I have time to take to get in on it. What I will say is what this game did not do for me, and it's actually true for Fable as well. This game did not tickle my ivories to the point where I said, when this comes out, I'm going to drop whatever I'm doing, right, and go do that. So we'll just see how it goes.
So for me, Forza, the first time I played Forza Horizon 1, like I didn't play the Forza Horizon series until I got a Series X when it launched. So I played the first 4 on Series X, and then actually I played all 5 on my Series X before I sold it, and then unfortunately only 4 and 5 are available on PC because they delisted the other ones, and they weren't available. So, but since Forza Horizon 1, I was like, this is exactly what I want. And like the reason why I love this franchise so much is because one reason is because it highlights the irony of my the irony of my personality versus me loving this franchise. Forza Horizon is like a party. It's a car party. I'm an introvert. I hate parties. I can't stand going to parties. You cancel a party on me, I'm already in my pajamas before you even finish telling me you've canceled. So like I'm not into parties, but I love the fact that Forza is a celebration of cars. It's a party. Everybody's your freaking friend. Like the minute you show up, everybody's like happy. They're happy to see you. They're just like, man, okay, we're going to race. I'm going to show you around. I'm going to give you like the history on this car while you're driving it. And I'm in the passenger seat and we're getting it to this other location. And it's like, everybody's just cool and everybody's having a great time. The festival is just this big ass party with like tons of ray tracing, and like the crowds are like everybody's just having a great time. The radio announcers are awesome. And like one thing that I really loved about Forza Horizon 5 was like it's almost like they recognized that they got away from a little bit of the formula from part 1. And what I mean by that is story. There was a little bit of quote unquote story to 5 that you didn't see since maybe 3. And they did a callback. They brought back the main like rival of yours from Forza Horizon 1. And so you're doing all of these like these driving missions, so to speak. You're basically racing him, but he's on comms with you and he's telling you about all of his adventures across all the other Forzas. And you're doing a theme from each one of the other Forzas. And then even like the person who's like, you have a handler for every festival. So your handler from Australia, who always called you boss, like she's like, hey boss, blah blah blah. And so they actually brought her back for Forza Horizon 5 for that whole segment. And she's like, you remind me of somebody, you remind me of a person who I really enjoyed, working with back in Australia. So just for old time's sakes, good race, boss. You know what I mean? It's just like they did such a cool callback to Forza Horizon 1, and just the vibes. The game is just vibes. And like, I can't get enough of it. They want to bring the festival back again. I'm there. I can't get enough of it. Like, I still play 5. I need to fire up 4 because I haven't fired it up yet again since I got it on PC. But like, the performance is always perfect. Everything aside from that little, debacle that I ran into with the sign-in thing, which is ridiculous. Microsoft sorts your shit out. But like, it's just, if I'm ever in a dour mood for whatever reason, I know beyond a doubt that I can fire up Forza Horizon and it just lifts my spirits. Like, it's just that kind of game for me. So
it's a comfort food kind of game.
It's a
you
comfort
just jump back
food,
into it and play it. Yeah,
exactly. And the vibes are always good vibes. It's great vibes, and it's the epitome of a type of game that is designed to make you happy, and it succeeds for me. It makes me happy. So like, barring any kind of technical, jank that is unlikely to be announced, Forza Horizon 6 is a day one for me. I can't wait. I have 4, 5, and 6. I have fond memories of 5, or fond memories of 1, 2, and 3. And the one thing that I love about the last thing, I'll close it out before I stop gushing. There's always a couple of songs that stick hard with me, like for each Forza, and for 5.
Am I the only one that can't hear him now? Or is
I think he's been having issues with StreamYard. Ramon, I don't know if you can hear us, but I think StreamYard muted you. Maybe I think
you're starting to sound a little body too. Maybe it's.
Is it me? You said,
StreamYard's hosting it, so it's not like your PC's hosting it. So it's I don't know.
It's that weather that's coming, Slow-mo.
Don't remind me.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to mention from just a racing perspective, and I don't think this is going to have any huge impact, but I'm just interested to see the dynamic. Because obviously one of my other favorite racing series is the F1 series by Codemasters. So we have a few things going on with F1 this year, right? We have no full F1 2026 game being released. We have basically 2026 DLC dropping for 2020, for F1 2025. It'll be interesting to see how the hell they're going to do that, because there's a huge slew of engineering and rules changes for Formula One for 2026. And so for people not familiar, which I'm sure tons of people are not familiar, the way Formula One works is every year they inject a certain number of changes, and that causes the teams to go off and build new cars that all have to be compliant with all these rules changes. Things all the way down to like the gearbox and the battery charging system and the aerodynamics and yada, yada, yada. So yeah, it's going to be DLC, but it's going to be fairly huge DLC. But the big thing is that normally that game would probably be coming out in the May timeframe at the same time as Forza Horizon 6. So, two slightly different crowds, but obviously a lot of crossover between like the hardcore sim crowd and the people who play the sim cage like Forza Horizon 6, particularly in a world where you don't have a Forza Motorsport series. So it's just going to be interesting to see how that kind of collision takes place, if it takes place, and just kind of what that'll do to the market dynamic.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Ramon. You're back.
Okay. Good grief. Me and StreamYard are fighting today. But no, just to wrap up what I was saying, like every Forza has a couple of songs that I love, and hands down, my favorite song in Forza Horizon 5 is the Spanish song. It's from I tracked them down. They're called Punto Final. And that song, like you can look it up, Punto Final, Punto, and then Finale, I think it is. That song just kicks ass. Like anytime that song comes on, I'm just like jamming as I'm racing or just riding the countryside. So yeah, anyway, Forza Horizon is just like vibes for me in every way. So yeah, definitely day one for me.
Yeah, and May 19th, 2026 is the release date. We'll be coming to PlayStation 5 at a later date. They didn't give us a place. I guess we don't even know when the PlayStation 5 release is coming out, but we'll be coming to PlayStation 5.
Did they say it'll be sometime this year?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yep. I do want to go to. I'm not gonna cover because I'm pressed for time here. I'm not going to cover what's it called, Beast of Reincarnation. That game's coming out as things that come out 2026 as well. I know it's coming out for both Xbox and PlayStation.
I think it's this summer. I think.
Okay, but I do want to get to. Hold on a sec here. Past Tim Schafer. Past Tim Schafer. Here we go. All right. Do you want to go to Fable? It's also being developed by Playground Games. And I got to say, just my quick thoughts on the game. I thought Fable looked really good. And I like some of the stuff that I heard about how Playground crafted each of its, like it's got 1,000 fully voiced NPCs. They have like their own like life. They do their own things. You can actually follow them. Again, they have their own personalities. And again, like Fable presents that moral choice, good, bad, in the middle. Players react to you, NPCs react to you based on your reputation. Again, it reminded me of the things that if you were on the original Xbox like myself, I was an Xbox Live beta tester. For those who don't know, you may remember something called Project Ego, which was what Fable was called before it was called Fable, obviously Project Ego. But anyhow, Peter Molyneux's vision of Project Ego, some of those things are coming to life here. Some of those things I've heard in this presentation by Playground were things that Peter talked about when he first discussed the idea of Project Ego, which again became Fable. So I think the game looks great. It's an open world Fable. I'm there was some I don't want to say concerns, some things I was looking at. I was like, the combat, I don't know about that combat, the sword play, but whatever, we'll see how that turns out when it releases. But it looks like we lost lose Logic. We lost Logic. Yeah, so
can you guys not hear me?
Oh no, Logic's here. I'm sorry, we lost Ramon.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back now. Okay, hold on. Let me get Ramon. Sorry, Logic, I got you. Thought you dropped. Ramon's back. Yeah. So, I again thought it looked great. What are the cool things? Like the other Fable games, you begin as a child, you grow into Albion's first hero in a generation. Again, your journey, your decisions, or your journey is shaped by your decisions, as you say. You've got a detailed look of Bowerstone, some of the other regions. I forget some of the other regions that they showed. But again, we saw some of the gameplay, melee combat, spell casting, some other hero abilities. We learned about the player agency, RPG systems. The morality choices are again central to Fable, which is great. Again, those things influence the world, how people perceive you. You could actually hear people like, forget some of the insults that people were shouting out as you walk by. Maybe scoundrel might have been one. I think I don't know. And then you could buy houses. You could marry multiple. You could have multiple wives, kids. Things like that. So, and again, this is confirmed for fall of 2026. launching on both Xbox Series XS, PC, and PlayStation 5. Well, actually coming to PlayStation 5 day and date, which is still wild. Well, it just, again, I know Halo's coming to PS5, but still, even seeing a formal, another tent pole of the Xbox, right? I go back to the OG Xbox, Project Ego, Peter Molyneux. It's a big selling point for me picking up an original Xbox at the time, 25 years ago. See Fable on PlayStation 5 day, it's just still kind of a bit shocking to me. But yeah, so I'll open up to the panel. What did you guys think of the showing of Fable?
I mean, I thought it looked pretty good. I think they, my only concern was the frame rate. It looks like they need to tighten that up before release. So hopefully, they can kind of get that in order with their releasing on multiple platforms before, they lock down a release date. Otherwise, I can kind of see the game getting delayed until probably early next year. But other than that, I mean, I think it looks really good. I think some of the systems that they talked about, which are, some of the core systems for an original Fable, they kind of stay true to that. So I like what they're doing. It does seem like this is going to be a pretty heavy CPU bound game. Just, with the whole world kind of remembering, everything you've done, throughout the course of play. The big decisions that they talked about at the beginning of the game, whether you kill a giant or not, that kind of is a long lasting effect throughout the entire game. So we got to see, what kind of effects that have on actual hardware. But other than that, it looks like a day one for me.
Yeah, you mentioned the giant. It's funny, like they talked about, like, you have a choice to either help them or you can kill him. And if you kill him, like, he ends up like staying there in the town.
His corpse ends up
corpse,
basically taking up space, and it has an effect on the world. I think that's pretty interesting. To kind of see, because like you guys said before, like these are a lot of things that like Peter back in the day used to.
Peter Molyneux,
yeah, and we used to always laugh at like Peter's exaggerations. He's like, oh, you're gonna be able to live an entire life in the world, and it's just like, it's just not possible, Peter. Like, it's just not possible.
Remember that? He's like, he said that you'll grow old. He's like, if you go back as a child and plant a seed in the ground, and you come back 50 years later, that seed will sprout into a 40-foot oak tree. I mean, that's kind of the shit he was saying. Like,
testing. Can you hear me?
Just like,
yeah, I can hear you, man.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just like, that's not possible, bro. Like, with technology, you just can't do that. I love your imagination.
I bought into it,
but it's just not real,
I bought into
it. For the first game, I bought into it. In the second game, I was like, I don't know here. And then when I played, like I love Fable 2. But like when I played, I was like, this ain't what Peter was talking. Okay, well, at that point, you're just like, all right, he's kind of a BS artist. He loves to exaggerate.
At that point, we kind of gave up on the hope on the what he was selling us with Project Ego with Fable 2. We're like, oh, okay, it's
right.
not,
but you can see that now, decades later, like technology's kind of advanced to the point where some of that stuff is actually possible. I think I like how your reputation will be well known, and like you'll walk past people and you'll hear the comments of, oh, well, look at this bastard over here, or whatever, right? I like that. I like that you can buy real estate, evict people, literally, like,
are you going to be a slumlord slow-mo
families like Nick Cannon? You could just do whatever you want, right? And it's just Nick Cannon. Yeah, you can start like 500 families like Nick Cannon. Yeah, like you can, and they said
Travis Henry.
Travis Henry.
Yeah.
Or Donald Trump, I don't know, right? So you could do those things, and my only real issue seems as of right now is something that B Money had mentioned with like when they mentioned the whole detailed scripting of like, oh, you can follow an NPC around and watch them do their, go throughout their entire day. And I'm like, that's so unnecessary. Why? Like, why did you add that much in there? Because what that reminds me of is a lot of what Capcom was trying to do with Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah.
And what that ended up being was frame rate and performance was fine when you were out in the world. When you got to the city and all that stuff came into play, it was chugging. And even on PCs with like the very best CPU on the market, with the very best GPU on the market, 64 gigs of RAM minimum, and all, didn't matter. You were barely hitting 60 FPS. And sure, they did a lot of optimizing to try to like make that a little bit better, which did help. But with the primary thing that people were doing, PC gamers were doing, they were just going around killing all the NPCs. And the more NPCs they kill, yeah, exactly. No more scripts for the CPU to try to write instructions to the GPU to render. That person's dead. So you ain't got to worry about it. and I don't think the thing is that, and because I think Dragon's Dogma 2 is kind of a trash RPG, is my opinion. But like a lot of those people, like it didn't really affect anything in the grand scheme of things, killing all these people off, right? In Fable, if you try that as a method at getting better frame rates, you're probably it's really going to be a bad idea. Like it's more than likely it's really going to affect how you deal with people in that world and so it's just I would rather that not be the case. Maybe potentially there's less people in the cities and the towns, so that it doesn't really chug as much. But considering the way that frame rate looked, I think it probably is going to be a bit of an issue. The combat, I was somewhat fine with it. Or really, like I just kind of maybe the magic might be a bit more flashy. But again, there's very little that we've really seen. Combat reminded me a lot of like the combat in previous Fable games. So I'm like I was fine with it then. I guess I'll be fine with it now. That was a long time ago. Like the last one came out in like what 2010, I think 2010.
Something like that,
yeah. So that's a long time. You know how things that you were fine with then, times have changed, gameplay design has advanced, and then you go back to it and you're like, ooh, not how I remembered it, So we'll have to see. I think I'll be fine if they delayed it to like early 2027. That might be for the best, just to make sure that it's in the right place it needs to be and it's fully polished. But this is Playground's really first foray into this. There's a lot of things. They use Forza Tech for this engine, which is a engine that like basically just did racers. So a lot of the animations that you're seeing, a lot of the none of this stuff that was things that they had already had tools built into the engine for. These are a lot of things they had to create for this game. And then being, I think it was a smart idea to have a completely separate studio, make it from the Forza Horizon studio, but then you got to deal with the inexperience of not making this kind of game before. I think last night on DPS, me and Forte were talking about it, and I used the example of Guerrilla Games, where they hadn't been making Killzone, which is a first-person shooter, so there's a lot less like emphasis on facial expressions and narrative trees and all that kind of stuff that you expect in an RPG. They decided to make Horizon Zero Dawn, and you could see the inexperience in certain areas. Like, sure, the world looked amazing and fantastic, but then you look at Aloy's face, and it's like a corpse talking. Like she don't like blink.
You really don't like Aloy.
I'm a boring guy.
But you can also see how
it,
they grew
but-
though, because the second one they solved those problems.
Exactly. That's what I was going to get to. So it took some time for them to kind of like, and of course, player feedback. People told them, hey, look, these conversations look stiff as all get out. It wasn't just Aloy; it was all the other NPCs you would talk to. It's just like they would blink 2 times in like 2 minutes.
That.
Yeah, and so and their face was just very stiff, like everyone got Botox somehow in this post-apocalyptic world. And so you find out where you kind of like didn't really focus your attention on because you didn't realize you needed to, and then you get better at it. And I wonder with Playground, what are those areas going to be for them where it's not quite there, but it could get there with like an update or a sequel or whatever, right? But I wonder what areas in this action RPG that they're going to kind of miss out on, because it's almost a guarantee that's going to happen. It's just, it is what it is. But I like what I saw. It's always been a day one for me ever since the announcement trailer. I just want to make sure that it's good and it's ready. Like, just don't release it because Matt Booty thinks he needs another game out right now.
Well, that's
you
not
know,
really
you
how I
about-
make decisions slow mo, but I appreciate what you're saying.
No, back to the frame rate thing. Like just to kind of piggyback on what you said, Slim. I think one of the concerns I had too was this thing has to be developed for the Xbox Series S. And if these are non-procedurally generated, NPCs, and they're living, they have a job, and just maybe think of the whole Starfield thing, 1,000 sandwiches, I have some concerns about that performance, like you mentioned, but we'll see. Hopefully that's not a non-issue, but just something that came to mind when they were talking about the NPCs and how live the world is. And it's truly an open world Fable. I'm sorry, go ahead, Logic.
No, I was just saying. I was just joking about Slow-Mo's Matt Booty comment.
No.
Maybe it was Matt Booty that figured, it made sense to have the male version of your character, sasaying all through the village the way they had it.
Oh, man. Some people were not happy about that, by the way.
I was like, when I saw that, I was like, did they forget to change the walking animation? I'm kind of, maybe, I don't know. We haven't seen the character creator yet. Maybe, and I'm not judging. I'm not judging nobody. If you
maybe
want
the mocap guy they hadn't gotten him in yet. Maybe they just hadn't gotten him into the studio yet.
Hey, look, maybe it's a choice. Maybe you can make a male and you just give him a zesty walk. All right, but freedom, more power to you. Go ahead and just be,
how angry
switching
some
your
people
way
will be
all
by
through
that.
the village if you want.
Some people are gonna be you do that. Some people are gonna be so angry. Yeah, I can really see it. These guys are gonna be so.
That's the only
miserable.
animation that
lives
you
are gonna be ruined.
Their lives will be ruined. I don't care. Like, I notice it, but I'm like, whatever. I just don't care about those things. Like,
Enrique, you don't care right now. 13 hours into the game, you gonna be like, yo, I'm tired of seeing my character walk like this.
It's no problem for me, because given a choice, about 80% of the time I choose a female character anyway. So
why when I hit the X button for him to run, he's skipping? I'm tired of it.
It would be awesome if like you could have like all kinds of different walking animations. Like you could have like a real pompous, a-hole kind of walk where you're just sauntering around, and it can kind of go with your attitude, or maybe that your walk changes. You know how like in the previous games, if you were kind of like a really, really good guy, a halo would start to appear over your head. Or if you were doing a lot of evil things, you would start to grow horns. What if like, because they clearly say there's no like body morphic tendencies towards your behavior, and you had to show this part. There's no body morphic tendencies for your behavior in this game, but what if it was like more of just body language? Like if your attitude or tone tend to like lean towards the body language, I think that might be That might be a bit much as far as like memory goes, and these games still have limitations, so maybe that'd be a little bit too much to deal with. But I think that'd be interesting. I just think that more than likely the whole walk thing was a mistake. They didn't mean to have that walk on the male version of the character. And and that you could just do multiple, because and Nate said in the chat that the female NPC that's walking past him has a more manly walk than he does, really. And like you see other people walking it and they ain't walking like that. So it's just like, it's clearly like a choice that they, at least on their side, a choice to have certain walking animations. I just think it's just why you keep.
Well, also you keep in mind too. I never played 2 and 3, but remember in the first Fable, you can make your character gay. So I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Like I'm not saying that you shouldn't have that. Like it's just that it was very interesting choice to have. Your male hero.
Yeah, kind of walking with a little sugar in his tank. Yeah.
Talking with his hips.
Yeah. I loved what I saw. That frame rate was pretty bad, but like even if they don't delay it, I mean, we got till autumn, which could be anywhere from late August all the way into October. So I mean, it's possible they can. I mean, and we don't know how old this build is too, right? So I mean, I think that you still stands a good chance that they, could have that cleaned up. We'll see. Unless
I think it's a pretty minor thing.
I think it's a small. I think it's a small thing. So I think they should have it cleaned up. And I'll be playing it on PC anyway, so I'm not overly concerned for that. Hopefully for console it'll be fine. As far as the all the NPCs having their schedules and everything, like I'm not gonna lie, going back to Starfield, the minute he said 1,000 planets, like my eyes rolled back in my head, and then when they started talking about horde and sandwiches, I slid out of my chair onto the floor. With this, I'm not gonna lie, like I remember like the first Fable doing this to a degree that the hardware was capable of. I remember going into a store once to buy something and they were sold out, and I was like, sold out? And so I'm walking away, and then I see this guy carrying a crate down the street, and so for whatever reason, I don't even know why I did it, I stopped and I was like, I wonder where he's going. So I followed him, and he walked right into the store that I just came out of, sat the crate down and left. And I'm like, wait a minute. So then I go up to the counter, and the stuff that was sold out was restocked. So like, I remember how cool that was. And so even though I know it's going to tax the CPU, I'm not going to lie. Like I can see myself watching someone, leave their house, go do their job, and then doing whatever, and then coming back and then watching them finish their job and go home or whatever. Like, so even though it's unnecessary, I kind of
Ramon, you really got time for that. You really got time. I'm just going to
just once.
Ramon, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, like you're gonna watch them, like.
Well, I just once, just for the novelty of it. And I know it's wasteful. Oh just once for the novelty of it. But I know it's wasteful, but at the same time, it's just like it's pretty freaking cool. But hopefully it doesn't. It's not too taxing, and they found a way to optimize, but we know it'll be CPU intensive, so it's going to be interesting to see what it does on console. But I mean, barring any kind of technical failures with it, barring anything unforeseen happening, this will definitely be a day one for me. I can see myself like immersing into this. We've got plenty of fantasy games, but we don't have a lot of fairy tale games. And I hear a lot of people calling this fantasy. I mean, you can place it in that, but it's a fairy tale, and it's it's a completely different vibe. Well, not completely different vibe, but it's a different vibe. So, we don't get fairy tale games a lot. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this turns out. Hopefully it delivers on everything they're saying, because it just looks really cool.
All right, B or Logic. I don't know if you guys have chimed in about Fable, but
oh yeah, I was the first one. What are you talking about?
Oh, you okay? I see. That's what I said. I'm ready to pass out. So sorry, B. It's the old age. What Logic? Let's go to you, sir.
It's interesting. It looks good. There's aspects of the game design and mechanics that I find interesting. I wasn't a Fable OG back in the day. Kind of like you guys said, like, I'd been burnt by Peter Molyneux before. And he was out here talking that stuff, and I was like, yeah, I'll give that a pass. But I found aspects of what they mentioned interesting. The notion that there's a meta. You can create your own meta, like within the game's framework. If you decide you want to open a chain of restaurants, right, and be a restaurant mogul, you can. If you want to be a real estate mogul, you can. I found some of the combat stuff, interesting. The different mechanics when you're using different weapons, the different styles, using both magic and melee. So a lot of the stuff looked interesting. Again, not tipping the table to, hey, I'm going to drop whatever I'm doing and go do that when it comes out. So I'm still kind of in wait and see mode.
Yeah, I think I'm probably day one on this one myself, just because it's Fable. A lot of nostalgia here for me. Again, I go back to Peter Molyneux and Project Ego and buying into the hype. And I think it's when they shut down Lionhead, I was like, oh, that sucks. No more. We're never going to see another Fable. When they announced Fable and Playground's working on this reboot of the Fable series, I was like, oh, this is awesome. So again, I liked what I saw. Some concerns, but definitely going to be a day one pickup for me. Not ready to call it Game of the Year contender, but definitely day one.
If they nail the execution on this to be what they claim that it can be, I think it could definitely be a game, at least a nominee.
For sure. Nominee for sure.
At least a nominee.
Yeah. This game looks like a game that I feel like they should have had like at the launch of, or close to the launch or post launch of the Xbox Series X, right? When they talked about it eats monsters for breakfast, this would have been that game, I think, to show that off.
Yeah.
But they've have since abandoned, console exclusivity now. So
this and Forza Horizon 6 would have guaranteed sold me a console if they were exclusive.
Yeah, well, people don't buy consoles for exclusives, Ramon. So
no, of course not.
They don't do that. So yeah, but no, I thought
buy
overall
for vibes.
Exactly, for vibes. Yes, for vibes. Yeah, no, I thought it was overall though. I thought this was a good developer direct though. I got to see some games.
Yeah, it was solid.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was. It was. Beast of Carnation.
You got that from, I think, Forte.
Did Forte say
that? Yes, he did.
Oh,
he said that last night. Beast of Carnation.
Is Forte still messing up words, Slow-mo?
Yes, all the time.
Yeah.
I don't even correct them anymore. It's just,
dude,
I'm just tired at this point.
Just a real quick note on that. I was driving yesterday because I had to take. We had lessons for this terror that is this puppy we have. So I'm driving and Forte's talking, and like I didn't even realize I was doing it until I did it like the 8th or 9th time. Forte will say a word wrong, and I'll audibly say it the correct way while I'm listening.
I've had to train myself not to do it just because I would just Xbox Series X series. I'm just saying unless it's series. I'm just like, you know what? Just let him have it.
My favorite was when he called Dolph Lundgren Dolph Drop Lung.
Hold on, what?
He called Dolph Drop Lung.
What? Are you serious?
Oh, that was so good. Oh man,
Dolph Drop Lung. Oh my goodness.
I was in tears when I heard.
Slobo, how do you? Oh my God, Slobo.
Never changed Forte.
Never changed Forte. Slobo, do you laugh just like mute your mic and just start crying? Because I would be in tears
all the time.
Oh my goodness.
I used to correct them. I'll be like, what did you just say? Especially if like the word he ended up using is like has a completely different meaning than what he meant, then I'd be like, so what? Like I would really mess with him, but now I'm just like, it is what it is.
Yeah. So who's gonna have multiple wives in Fable?
Oh, I will. one for every village.
I don't. I wonder if they come after you for like. What happened to your kids?
Gonna find you and divorce you.
Yeah. What happened to your kids? Did they grow up hating you?
Probably. Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Like you're not spending enough time at one village, and then you come back. Like let's say the time lapse is like 2 years or 5 years, and your kids hate you. You know.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know.
They grow up to be villains.
You gotta go through villains. Your daughter's a stripper because she hates you.
Oh man.
Nah, I can't do it because I have a weird personality quirk. I'd be feeling bad for real.
Ramon's like, I'm gonna make the round. Let me make sure I see all my kids. Yeah, I don't know about like investing. For me, like it sounds cool. The concept sounds interesting, but I'm not going to spend that much time like fostering those love interests to have like, like 7 wives.
So it'd be like if I do one.
Yeah, or exactly. Like if I have one, maybe like okay.
I got too much to do, man.
But then you got to get a job and you got to buy a house. Like, see, I don't know. Like it sounds cool, but then some of it sounds
this is where the being the landlord stuff really comes to the play. You
see that
buy stuff, own it, and then rent it.
Yes,
take in the money.
Yeah,
yes, yeah. I can do all that because that's revenue.
Yeah,
right. And I'm fairly certain it won't be like real life where they calling you up like, "Hey, the plumbing is bad."
The plumbing, yeah.
Oh my god,
we got a roach problem.
PTSD. That just give me PTSD.
I mean, the other thing too is you saw the video when you throw out like the renters, like that one guy he threw out in the street, and the guy was like yelling at him or something, like for throwing him out.
Yeah, he was homeless.
He was like homeless. You threw him out. I'm like, damn. So, yeah, I don't know.
The reputation system sounds a lot of fun.
But again, it sounds like what Peter had advertised initially for Project Ego back in the days. Like it sounds like it's come full circle now. Like it's actually
now they can actually do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. It looks like, all things I know not to take things at face value, but everything I've seen now, it looks like they may actually pull this off. And if they do, then Xbox has its Guerrilla Game Studio in that regard. I really hope they pull it off. It looks like a lot of fun, and yeah.
No, this is even better than Guerrilla, because this is like a way deeper transition.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Point.
That is true.
You know what I mean? Like Guerrilla went from a shooter to open world action game with light RPG elements. You know what I mean? Like it's not really the RPG. Like what they're doing right here is going from a racer to a true RPG with choice and consequences. Like
that's true.
It's a different animal.
Yeah, different animal. And if they pull it off,
that's true.
It's hats off to them, man.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, B. I mean, it's a different beast. I mean, this is it's a big endeavor for them, I think. I mean, obviously they've worked in creating open world, right? But the level, I think, of detail here and just vastly different from Forza. So, yeah. So we'll see. Autumn 2026. Hopefully it's not delayed again. I was hoping we could actually get a firm release date, but autumn of 2026 is what we have right now. So we'll see.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It does make it autumn. I mean, if it doesn't, then whatever they need to do to make it great, do it. But I'll definitely be happy if it does reach autumn, because I've been looking forward to this since they announced it.
Yeah, no, me too, Ramon. So, all right, that's all I have for topics this evening, and I got to go do some prep work for the storm that's coming, this winter storm. But I want to thank everyone in the live chat for hanging out with us this evening. Please do me a favor, do the YouTube thing, hit the like button. If you're new, consider subscribing, hit the bell notification. And I want to thank the panel here. Game Logic, B Money, Ramon, Terrell, Slow-Mo, Backslap. I'll go with you, Ramon. I don't know if you want to be found, but if you do, let everyone know they can find you.
Just by virtue of, I hope to sell some books. If any of you like to read fantasy, epic or high fantasy or fantasy humor, or even urban fantasy, vampire and werewolves, things like that, just look me up by my name, Ramon Terrell. And I mean, whether you Google me or you go on Amazon or Chapters or Waterstones or wherever, you'll find my work if you like to read that type of thing. Otherwise, I am on Blue Sky. And just enjoy your games, have fun. And BRAP, thanks for having me on. Fellas, it's always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for coming back on, Ramon. We got to get you back on again sooner than later. I know it's been a while since we had you on last. Also, Slow-Mo, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Great seeing you. If you want to be found, let me know they can find you as well. Yeah, we lose Slow-Mo. All right. Slow-Mo Backslap. He's on Twitter. And DPS podcast every Thursday night at 9 p.m. All right. B-Buddy, thank you again for stopping by. Again, always a pleasure. And if you want to be found, let everyone know where they can find you.
You don't have to find me. I will find you. But yeah.
Fair enough.
Appreciate you having me. I saw the link and you guys are having a great conversation. I just happen to be free because my daughter has dislocated her shoulder. So no wrestling tournament for me today.
Wait. B, your daughter's wrestling?
Yeah, my daughter.
Oh, B, I have to tell you about my 7-year-old.
Yeah, man. So
let me just real quick. I've never seen wrestling, but like I've seen like amateur wrestling in the Olympics, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I told you my 7-year-old played football. All his coaches are like, all right, do wrestling now.
Right.
All right, so we started him up for wrestling, right?
Yeah.
I had no expectation, didn't know what to expect. I'm like, yeah, he's never wrestled before. Yeah, he's probably gonna lose, right? B, this dude is a savage. He's undefeated.
Oh, that's good stuff, man.
And he's got a motor. He doesn't stop moving his feet. I'm shocked. I don't even know how this happened.
Hey man, once you get him on that mat, man.
Yeah, and he's so like calm.
Mano, man. And
yeah, as soon as it's go time. So I'm sorry, B. Go ahead, man.
No, you're good. But yeah, that's my life has been consumed by my kids and all their lovely activities that they have going on every single week. So, I'll pop up here and there when I can. Like I said, it was great to be here. So, hope everybody has a great night, and hopefully you'll see me around here again soon.
Yeah, no, B. I feel you on the sports stuff. I'm living it right now. I get it, but again, always a pleasure. Thank you for stopping by. And then Game Logic or Matt Booty was kind enough to give us an interview earlier in the show. I don't know if you want to be found, but if you do, let everyone know they can find you as well.
You can feel free to swing by my channel on YouTube, Rounding Off Infinity, where I do a solo cast called Gaming Outside the Algorithm. And so it's my effort to talk about and track news, technology, and other topics in the gaming industry without being impacted by or influenced by the algorithm on Twitter and YouTube. So feel free to drop by and check that out. I'll be talking about Matt Piscatella's numbers tomorrow. the 40% growth impact that Nintendo Switch 2 has had on the market in Japan, as well as some of the template builds that I'm doing for PCs, given the narrative running around about how PC prices will be impacted. So I've started a project to template some builds and track those prices throughout the year and put them on a graph and kind of see exactly what it does actually happen, given the predictions that we have about what's about to go down.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, Logic, thank you again. Again, thank you everyone in the live chat. And if you are in an area of the country that's under a winter storm watch, warning, whatever the case is, please be safe this weekend. This storm is massive. I know we're kind of in the thick of things here where I live. So if you're in a part of the country that's going to feel the impact of the storm, please be safe. And if you can't, just stay inside, play some video games, kick your feet up, relax. So on that note, we'll be back. Assuming I don't have a scheduling conflict with sports again, we should be back to our regular schedule Wednesday night time at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So thank you again for watching, and we'll catch you next time.